Hello there, and welcome back.
What is this place?
Disconnected.
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 Disconnected. Disconnected.
Disconnected.
Disconnected.
Disconnected.
Disconnected.
Disconnected.
Disconnected.
Disconnected.
I'm starting to feel disconnected.
You have reached a number that has been disconnected.
Hey-o, and happy Thursday live with Bryan Dembinski, a name you might recognize better as we can. Can you hear me? Bryan, hello.
I don't have anything from you.
You might recognize Bryan as the Wonderment Project in the chat. Glad everybody is here. This is extra funny because Bryan is a sound professional.
Yeah, I don't hear you, but I can fix that in a second.
And your sound is very different than earlier when we tested this. Hello. We'll get this fixed soon, I'm sure.
Technical difficulties.
And your audio is very awkward. Yeah, we'll get this figured out. I am glad everybody's here. It's been a heck of a week. It is really, really nice to see everybody. It's been a very busy week, so great to spend some time with everybody.
Give me a second. I'm gonna do something so I can hear you real quick, and then we'll go from there.
Okay. I'll bring Bryan back in just a minute, and we'll see what's going on. Bryan, for everybody that does not know, is as you'll see in the thumbnail, a LASERDISC enthusiast, and that is underselling it. We're going to find out why that is underselling it, because he is one of the foremost collectors of LASERDISC in the entire U.S. On that note, if you want to know more about LASERDISC, think up your questions. He can answer pretty much everything. He is a master at valuing items. He is a master at tracking things down around the world and getting them for his collection. He's going after a couple complete collections that we will talk about in a little bit. As far as okay, Bryan says he can hear me, but he's also going to hear himself. All right, I'll bring him back in. What happened, Bryan? We tested this.
Yeah.
And now your sound is very different than earlier too.
I know. I don't hear anything from you.
Again?
So I can. Yeah, it's very strange.
Very strange. Hopefully we can figure it out. If not,
I mean, I'm doing it based on the stream, but I don't hear anything directly from you.
Yeah, that is quite awkward. We'll figure that out. Yeah, we're going to get into all of our regular stuff, and also Bryan is going to cover his normal pickups, talk about the stuff that he collects, tell us about some LASERDISCs and all of that. This is a funny freaking question, Sibner. Sibner says foremost, or as in one of the only four. No, well, we're going to talk about it because he buys and sells a lot of LASERDISCs. Are we good now? No? Okay. The silence.
I'll be right
deafening.
back.
Okay.
Well, no, I don't hear you, so I'm gonna be right. I'll be right back.
All right, so I'll carry on for just a moment, just so it's not super awkward for Bryan for me to talk about it for a minute. I'm going to show a couple pickups, and the best one. Normally, I don't make a big deal out of this, but I just got in the brand new Physical Media Advocate for this month, and I don't know why. Something about it is like extra handsome this month. It came together really freaking great. Everything is really incredible in the hand. Some of our favorite articles that we've done yet until the next couple months, because man, we've got some big stuff on the way for everybody. Check this out. If you are not up to date on the Physical Media Advocate or checking this out every once in a while, I know it's a weird thing to hawk for myself because I normally don't do it, but this thing has grown leaps and bounds. What started out as a 6-page PDF is now a monthly 50-plus page publication that is going worldwide, available in 4 countries, and getting people from all over the world to write every single month, and it is turning out to be something incredible. We are doing 2 really special things here soon that I can't wait to tell everybody about. Robert is asking, any glitches on our end? Storm just passed over us in the last half hour, maybe in your area an hour or so. I just got a notification that it's about to hit Johnson County. So I probably got, somewhere around an hour. We'll see, something like that. Bryan, are we better
There
now?
we go. Yeah, I see you. I hear you.
Yay! And everything's
Everything
all right.
is perfect now. Yes. That was strange. I just reset the whole thing. Yeah,
Awkward.
Now everything's perfect.
All right, we'll get to you in just a second. Rafa wants to know, you're holding physical media magazine or a graphic novel. Rafa, this is a full physical media magazine. You can pick this up every single month. Amazon worldwide, 4 countries, and a bunch of handfuls of stores. We'll talk more about that at some point. But yeah, if you got Amazon where you are, you can get it on Amazon. Check out the Physical Media Advocate. Brian, you wrote a shit ton for the Physical Media Advocate. Thanks for doing that.
Oh, no problem. I just wrote one series of articles so far, and hopefully I can continue. But yeah, it was all about Hong Kong cinema, really like a bit of the birth of it, but really like how it's second golden age, circa like 86 to the handover in 97. And I sort of tried to take an economic perspective and work my way back and like, how do they get the money to make these movies? How do they do it? And what came out of it? And then how did it die? But
Right.
it was really long. It took me, I read a stupid amount of things. Like I was reading like vintage Hong Kong economic reports from the 70s all the way through like the 90s to try to figure out like where it all came from. But it was fun. It was really good.
We're going to talk about LaserDiscs tonight. Before we get into the heart of everything, why don't you share just the obvious questions here? How many do you have, and what are you trying to collect with LaserDiscs?
How many do I have? I have just under 17,000 of them. What am I trying to collect with them? You know, in like the grand scheme of things, I would love to get any movie released on Laserdisc across all continents. I don't quite have the bandwidth to do that. So like my real thing is I'm trying to get a complete set of widescreen US Laserdiscs. Which, you know, it's a little hard to put a finger on it because they released like 2001, it got released like 2 or 3 times widescreen, actually 4 times, I think. So if you break it down out of that, like how many movies is that? You know, it's like, it's in the 8 or 9,000 range. And right now I'm missing just under 200. So
I got to ask, because I know you track this, is there confirmed copies still in decent condition of all 200 of those in the world?
You know, actually, you know, to be honest, some of the stuff is I would say mostly yes, with a few caveats. So Tai Sang released a lot of Laserdiscs in Hong Kong and in the United States. And in the United States, did I have any here? I didn't bring it. I don't think I have any with me right here. But in the United States, the main difference between a Tai Sang release of a Laserdisc and for the US and what they release in Hong Kong is basically just a white strip of paper. And so if I can't find it with the white strip of paper, I don't count it as the US release. And like that's a little bit of like a nebulous, like, do I really care deeply about a white strip of paper or not? But as many as I can find with the white strip of paper, I have. And I have a lot of them. But there are like, of the 200 I'm missing, probably 60 of them are these Tai Sang ones. And, you know, they don't pop up that often because you would have had to like, you know, keep it in a sleeve more or less, because the white piece of paper is literally just a piece of folding paper that they cut and printed. It's nothing fancy. So like those ones, maybe not. Everything else is like, yeah, there are a lot more Laserdisc fans than you would think. I think the main Facebook forum has like 11,000 members. I think if you look in general, you know, there's probably a solid 5,000-6,000 people that spin Laserdisc often. Probably 3,000 of those in the States. They were incredibly popular in Japan and in East Asia in general. So there's a lot more than you would think. And it went on for a lot longer. I mean, Laserdisc basically lasted as long as DVD lasted.
Right.
So it's not like it was a flash in the pan. It was just expensive and it was niche. So while DVD was cheap and broad, Laserdisc was a thing that those who loved cinema, especially at the time, got.
There is a lot to go over on Laserdiscs. I mean, I just had like 14 questions pop up that I was going to ask. But before we get into all that, I want everybody to have a chance just to think about it. So we're going to get deep into Laserdiscs after the announcements tonight. We're going to go into like full-blown nerdy side of things. So first, let's get into some of our regular topics. What are you collecting on we'll say contemporary physical media?
So I mean, I'm like I'm slowing down a little bit just because of like sort of change in like my shelf space, my workspace, my everything space. But like I have a bunch of labels and types of movies that I really like, and so I try to stay mostly complete. Um, so like just in the mail today, watching, I don't get my mail here. I have to get my mail somewhere else. But just recently, I picked up from the mail the new Deaf Crocodile. I have all of
Nice.
their releases. I love their stuff. This is gonna be cool. And then I recently went on a trip to Montreal with my family, and I found a VHS of this erotic thriller dubbed in French. This is a movie called Matter of Trust, but dubbed in French, so that's kind of cool. And then when I'm out there, I always look for like weird DVDs. So this is like a movie running out of time, early Javier Bardem. And then Quebecois has their own cinema that existed for a really long time. And in Montreal, you can find a bunch of it dirt cheap. So I bought some of that. They're like dollars a pop. And then I really like Arrow. And of course, we're going to talk about Hong Kong. So I got the new Arrow, Hard Boiled and the
Nice,
Killers.
nice.
And I really like Radiance. So I ended up getting this Johnny Toe movie, another Hong Kong movie, Romance is in the
I'm
Air.
very eager to see that one.
Me too. I love Johnny Toe. You know, he's another funny guy. Like, you can talk. I'm not going to go into it now, but he like spans from the beginning of the second golden age of Hong Kong cinema, and he's like one of the 3 or 4 that kept going. So
Right.
he really still has a presence, and it's kind of cool. And I picked up the Matador from Pedro Almodovar.
Nice. Very nice. We'll be talking about that one a little more in a little bit, I'm sure. Some exciting stuff from Radiance. They've had a few great months for sure. A couple things I wanted to show. One, I know you big into 88 films. This is their newest one. This is The Angry River. We'll note that they like changed the quality of the slipcover on this one. I know people are super into slipcovers. This one feels interesting. It's like a different material altogether. A little more high quality, possibly. Nice release. Wellgo USA. I've been wanting to check this one out. Beast of War. When they put out press discs, I'm much more likely to purchase these. They do a lot of BDRs, but Beast of War is supposedly pretty good, so I wanted to check that one out. You just brought up Arrow and some of their newest ones. We've got The Eye. This is a brand new 4K from them, which is supposed to be great. And then one that I've been wanting to see for a long time. Wandering Ginza Butterfly. This is very nice looking release. Glad you got this one too. This is Miko Kaji stuff that people have been wanting to see in good, high quality for a long time. Just like the last one I'm going to talk about, which is Full Moon's release of Last Foxtrot in Burbank, written by partially John Carpenter. Very eager to see this one because I love John Carpenter, although it's supposed to be pretty terrible.
I've never seen it, but I've heard of it. Yeah.
Yeah. What about what you've been watching? Because you are kind of all over the place. Although we're definitely going to get into erotic thrillers tonight, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'll break that down a lot more a lot later. But yeah, so I mean, I do kind of watch a little all over the place. I really like this Buster Keaton set that got released a while ago of all his short films. I get my children to watch Buster Keaton. And in fact, my littlest one, who's 4, will say that she only likes 4 movies, and it goes like Zootopia, Wicked. I can't remember one other one, and then she'll say and Buster Keaton. So she and I watched a lot of Buster Keaton. But I watched.
Knowing how young your kids are, I really wish she was saying Zoolander.
No, that's my mistake. But I watched a whole bunch of these this week. Those are all really good. You can see 1 week as a short. It's his first directorial short. It's great.
Yeah.
You should really watch that. And then I watched, worked my way through this entire set, this Jade set. I don't like this movie at all, but this set is actually incredible. Like, there's like, if you want to work yourself through a movie and think completely about it, independent of whether or not it's like a movie that you like, and one of the best sets I think in a long time that like works its way through a movie. Like, you got to think about it from a production standpoint, from a cultural standpoint. It's really all there, and it's really well done. So good job to you on that one.
I mean, I wasn't going to call attention to it, but that does mean a lot, because obviously when a company like Vinegar Syndrome puts out a 4K, everybody goes crazy over, and then another company asks me to produce another release of that film, I'm like, okay, like that's kind of tough because a lot of people already bought it. But I think there was still some stuff to mine there, and I think we pulled off some pretty cool things.
Yeah, the visual essay that is in here. Who did it? That one is really good.
Chris O'Neill, probably.
Yes.
Or
Yes, that one. His is really good. Friedkin's Enigma. Yeah, that one's really good.
yeah, Chris is great at what he does, and then
Yeah.
Michelle's is really, really good on that one too. She's very talented.
I liked all of it. I mean, I had seen The Kid Stays in the Picture, so I didn't watch that again. But
Right.
actually, I've seen that a few times. But it's cool. It's in there. I don't know why, but whatever.
It's kind of crazy to get that as a bonus in there.
It's like whatever. It like doesn't change the value you get in the box. Like it's like, here, here's another cool documentary. Why not? And then I watched only half of this, but I mean, I've seen the movie a bunch of times, but I watched the noir edition. So good. I like when we do talk about erotic thrillers. Like, if you actually want to talk about what's actually a great movie erotic thriller, this is like the only. This is the only real 5-star one. This is like the best of the best one. There are a few others I think are 5-star that I'll talk about, but like independent of like my own quirks, that Last Seduction is incredibly good. And it was only because of like sort of a weird quirk in the Oscar systems of the year that Linda Fiorentino didn't get a nomination and everybody else sort of like got shushed aside. But it's a great movie. It's a great movie. And it looks amazing.
Yeah, I will agree. It definitely looks great. They did an incredible job on that restoration. I'm happy for them. As far as what I watched this week, I will say it's been a very shorts-heavy week for me this week. And I just want to implore everybody, if you ever get some downtime or you're like trying to, I don't know, switch through of a short night and you're like, I've got 80 minutes and I can find an 80-minute movie, but I don't know what to watch. Literally, pull up YouTube, pull up some of your discs, check out some shorts. There are so many really great short films that don't see much beyond festivals, and then a lot of times they're thrown onto a disc and forgotten about. Some of these filmmakers literally spend more time on some of these shorts just to get attention to be able to make a feature, and then they're left. They're never like paid properly. They usually they sink a lot of money to some of these shorts and then never recover from that. So check out YouTube, check out Vimeo, check out some of these streaming services. I'll shout out not one of my favorite streaming services because I don't really go to them all that often.
My cat knocked my headset out.
But I will say, check out Bloodstream TV. They've got some collections of short films from filmmakers that are just really eclectic and not something that you would expect to see. They've got some great stuff going on over there. So, give them a shout out and some attention if you've ever considered that. Before we go into other stuff, let's talk about sound, because obviously tonight we're talking about Laserdisc. You are professional in lots of different ways surrounding sound. What do you do for sound?
Yeah, I'm a production sound mixer in New York City. So I work on movies and TV shows and anything in between. I've done sound for almost anything that you can think of. Very, very, very little theater, but a little bit. But basically any and everything that deals with sound for entertainment I've done at some point. But so anything related to sound and entertainment I can talk about, I've done.
What are some of the bigger movies or TV shows people might recognize that you've worked on?
I was a production mixer for Severance, the season 1, which was on Apple TV. We got a CAS award nomination for that. I did this movie called The Secret Life of Walter Mitty. The Amazing Spider-Man 2, I was the stunt unit mixer on, which is amazing. I worked on a lot of reality TV shows. So I was the sound supervisor for Ink Master and Worst Cooks in America. And there's the first season of Love and Hip Hop. I supervised and got that started. Real Housewives of New Jersey back in the day, I supervised that. In fact, all of Bravo, if you or your loved ones like Bravo or you wish that they didn't, the reason why Bravo is sort of done the way it is because in season 3 of Housewives in of New Jersey, I sort of like introduced how you could multi-track and do large cast events to them. And that sort of, I had to prove that it was doable to them before they would even sign off on it. We had just sort of done a version of it on Love and Hip Hop, but I proved that we could do it. And then as far as I know, it was the first Bravo show that did live, like in the field multi-tracking. And now it's just like how every show is done.
It's the standard.
It's just the standard. But that's a long time ago. It was 12 years ago.
Well, and I don't know how much you wanted to talk about it, but you've met Miss Drew Barrymore a few times.
Oh yeah, I work on right now. I'm the main thing. I don't do as much anymore. I have two children and a busy partner, so like I try to do a lot less. But I do still work on the Drew Barrymore show as the I do the field pieces. So whenever they're not in the studio, I go out with them. We just went to Tennessee last week, 2 weeks ago for a little thing. It won't actually air till next season, but yeah. So I worked with her. Whenever I see Drew, she gives me a hi, gives me a hug, asks me how my wife's doing. So she's very nice. She's cool.
Ronnie's bringing up that you just did that My Mom Jane doc.
I
about a
did.
year
I
and a
did
half
My
ago.
Mom Jane, yeah. And I'd done a lot of movies with this guy Marshall Curry, who is a really good documentary filmmaker. On Netflix right now, they have The New Yorker at 50. We did that. There's a really good underseen one called Street Fight. I didn't do that. He did that by himself. But then after Street Fight, he did Racing Dreams. It's about kids that race go-karts. I think the DVD is dirt cheap, but it's a really, really good movie. It's like almost 20 years old now, but I really like making that one.
That's I think that one is streaming in a couple places because I was
Oh,
just looking at that one. Yes.
okay, fair enough.
So lots of sound stuff. If anybody has any questions about sound for Brian, but
Sure.
one of the big things is you've got a couple things that you can show us about sound because you've got your sound routed through
Yeah.
a mixer. Is that going to work tonight now?
Oh yeah, I think it was just the codec from the computer. I have a really old computer. That's what I think was causing the problem. But yeah, so like, I can't hear myself, which is probably good. So I'm assuming and hoping it sounds good to everybody. But this is how you would do a sound for an interview. So for the people watching on the stream, that's the microphone, and I made it so it's just out of frame, and boom. So that's like if you were doing it documentary where you had a bunch of sit down interviews, this is how you would mic it, and this is more or less what it should sound like, I'm assuming. And then you're like, well, what's the difference between that and a camera mic? Well, a camera mic's gonna sound like this. So here's a mic that's about the distance that a camera would be. It's still pointing at me, it's still a pretty decent mic, but it's gonna sound a lot more open. It's gonna sound a bit more airy. It's also a shotgun mic versus this cardioid mic. So that might have a little bit of different sound. Again, I'm not 100% sure what this stream is going to do to it. And then you say like, well, what about if I have a lav mic on? Well, I actually do. I'm wearing a lav mic right now. And then there's the lav mic. So if you're like, what does a lav mic sound like? This is what a lav is like. And it's, I'm hidden under my clothing so you can't see it. And it's like a smaller diaphragm. It doesn't really have quite the same fullness, a lot of people would say. Also, you lose any sense of space. And a lot of times when I'm making a documentary, especially like a Talking Heads one, you say you want it to sound important and full and big and like you're in the room with them. And so yeah, sure, we can use a lav, but I think this mic sounds a lot more like I'm actually in the room with you. It has a bigger, fuller, more, someone called the NPR feel to it. And so
Right.
like all things considered, this is the mic I want to use. So that's like a simple demonstration.
So, some good comments. Yeah, people noticing lots of differences. Yeah, it's a very interesting thing. Patty Boy wants to know, as a sound guy, how do you feel about Robert Altman movies?
I really like Robert Altman movies. There's not that many books classically written about like sound mixers and sound mixer techniques because more or less it's like a technical profession. It's not something that's like super fascinating unless you're really doing it. But there is a book that was written on a history of sound and sound mixers, and they glaze over a lot of stuff. And then they get to Altman, and sort of in a sense, what he's doing, especially in things like Nashville, is crazy. Like, they had a truck that came in to do the 24 tracks. It's on tape, so they can only do, I think at the time it's like 12 minutes, which is pretty similar to a mag. But they're having to change. They're huge, they're giant, and they would have a team of about, I think, 9 people for Nashville. And yeah, they're really cool. What he did was amazing. As a fun fact, I used to work at a rental house for a while in New York City, and the last job I prepped for them with them was a Prairie Home Companion, and we did sort of a version of that. We did 48 tracks, and we sent it out to Minnesota. And it was on disc, like DVD discs. So you could only get about 44 minutes a disc, and it was only 8 tracks. So there was 6 of those stacked up. And so I bring it out there, and we're installing it. The band played live, as far as I know, like they're supposed to. Hopefully it happened, but the band played live the whole time. So all the music and everything, it's all done live. Everything done live, and I'm setting it up, and we're like running through it, and showing the sound mixer, and people are milling about. And I was like, is Altman here today? And they're like, oh no, he's not in today. We have his standby, if you have any questions. And I look over and I was like, standby? That's P.T. Anderson. And then indeed, P.T. Anderson had been hired as the DGA trainee, as like the standby, because the studio was worried that Altman was going to die. And so if Altman died, he would have come in and finished the movie.
Jeez.
So I have a picture, actually, about a year or so later. I met Altman at a Harry Belafonte benefit and took my stuff off and took a picture with him, which I almost never do. A very old Robert Altman and a very young me. So I don't know. But I do like Altman movies a lot, yeah.
That was what, 17, 18 years ago, something like that?
I actually don't really. No, it was longer because
slightly longer, yeah.
This is like going to be my 23rd. I don't think I finished 23 years of doing this in August, so probably about 22 years ago.
Jeez.
23 years ago.
Oh, Altman.
Yeah. Oh,
That's
when I met him was a few years after, but Very Home Companion was 22, 23 years ago.
That's wild. So what was I don't think we've talked about that. What is your actual like first big studio sound gig that you got?
Studio sound gig?
Yeah. Asking the tough question.
I don't really. The funny thing is, I don't really know / remember. I mean, I did. I think it's probably the first. Well, I did some days on that Sandra Bullock 9/11 movie. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I remember it. I'm not going to remember the title.
I don't remember what it's called either. So I did some
I think
days.
The only 9/11 movie I remember is Rain Over Me.
Fair enough. Whatever that. If somebody in the chat will know, but the Sandra Bullock Match von Sydow 9/11 movie. I had just gotten in the union when they were making that, and the guy. So when I was working at the rental house was the moment when like everything went from DAT tapes and analog tapes to digital multi-tracking. So basically every mixer and their brother came in, and I would sit down with them and talk to them about like, what does this mean? What does this do? Blah, 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 blah. So when I left, I knew a lot of people, but I wasn't necessarily like, I wasn't in the union. No one was going to hire me straight out of a rental house. But like, I think it was maybe 6-7 years later when I got in the union, I let some people know. And then the guy who ended up being my mentor, he was like, oh, come in for a week and work on a Sandra Bullock movie with me. And I was like, sure, no problem. So I get there, and that was the first time I really worked with him, and it was fun. It was, interesting. He did a really good job, and I did the week or whatever, and then I didn't hear from him for a while, maybe a year or 2 years, and he called me up, and he's like, I'm gonna go do A Secret Life of Walter Mitty in Iceland, and I need to take my cart and put it on a boat. And I'd been designing systems for lots of things for a long time, and I said, okay. And so I would drive up every morning and take his cart apart and look through it and like kind of talk about like how we're going to break it into sections in order to put it on a boat. And then he had a lot of things he wanted to do too. So like, it wasn't all my ideas, but I just worked with him, and eventually we like got his cart so it could break into 3 pieces. And if we needed to, we could put it on a boat. And then like a week into doing that, he's like, why don't you just come to Iceland with me and do the movie? And I was like, okay. So I was like, sure, I'll come. And then, then I went and did Walter Mitty, and I only mixed the end, but I also did a lot of sound effects gathering. But he had to leave at the very end. I did like the last 2 or 3 days, but I was the assistant. And most of the time on the studio movies, I was the assistant. I've only mixed a couple of bigger studio movies.
Yeah, interesting. I'm kind of curious about everybody in Laserdisc, so we'll put up a little poll. Do any of you have Laserdiscs in your collection? Answer that question there in the chat. Love to hear about it. So Laserdiscs, when did you start? Were you collecting back when they were in the store?
No, I didn't have any of that when I was a kid. But so I went to NYU for film school, and the library used to have this cool thing where you could request a movie and they sort of like would play it in some random thing, and you go and you put headphones on and it would come on. But they had a ton of laser discs, and I had known that there were things like a commentary by Scorsese on Taxi Driver that wasn't anywhere else, and some Bond commentaries and stuff. So I would like put some of these on and listen to the commentaries, because I came to film really late. So when I first came to film, I sort of just started buying the Criterion DVDs. I was like a baseball umpire, and there was a Borders bookstore, not being Barnes and Noble, but Borders. You can get like coupons, and there'd be big discounts. So I basically have the first 100 Criterion DVDs that I bought as they came out, and that was like my pre-film school film school. And so I just had heard about some of these laserdiscs and whatnot. So whatever, I'm at NYU, and at one point they were like, "We're gonna throw a lot of this away." And I was like, "What?" So I took a whole bunch of them, and I was like, "Oh, this is cool." And then I started looking on Craigslist, and it was a big changeover. This is like 2002, 2003. Everybody was getting rid of their laserdiscs, and they wanted DVDs. So I bought a little red wagon, and I would like bring this wagon wherever I needed to or wherever I could, and I'd buy laserdiscs for like 50 cents to $1 a piece, sometimes less, and I'd haul them back to my place in Brooklyn and convince my friends that they're cool. And I had like 1,500, 2,000 of them. And then at one point, I and the woman I was with for a long time, and we broke up, and I was like, forget these laser discs, and I like got rid of almost all of them. I think I had like 200 left. And then when my older daughter was around 4, this is like a year before the pandemic, I was like, I want to show her some movies, because I actually took a real huge break from watching movies. I saw almost nothing from 2007 to 2017, like almost nothing. I was just working, so I saw nothing. I watched nothing. So I was like, oh, I want to show her some movies. And especially I was like, I want to show her The Lion King, but we didn't have any streaming services. And I was like, I don't want any of this crap. So I was like, I still have my Laserdisc player. I'll buy a copy of The Lion King. So I bought a copy of The Lion King, and then it just kind of snowballed. And then when the pandemic happened, it was crazy. First of all, like I didn't have anything to do at all. Like my job was just gone. But I was doing a Warner Brothers pilot. So I got a very, very generous, like almost too generous severance from Warner Brothers for a while. And my wife was still working, and I had Maddie. So I was like, I don't have anything to do. So I started looking on Facebook Marketplace and Craigslist, and people were cleaning out their stuff and getting rid of Laserdisc. So I drove from New Hampshire all the way past Baltimore, wherever I could, all the time, just picking up huge amounts of Laserdiscs. And at first I thought it was just kind of fun, and it was interesting. And then there was a huge lot near where you live, and I sent my brother to it, and he went and bought it. And I was like, I want you to send me these 20, and you can sell the rest if you want. And then he looked it up on eBay, and he was like, what? Because he paid like $300 for, I think he sold that for like $7,000.
Jeez.
And he was like, oh shit, this is great. So yeah, so I would just give them to my brother, who runs a big eBay store, and anything I didn't want, I would sell. And I just kept buying more and more. It was a little bit of a problem. And then one day I was just again on Facebook or something. I think on Facebook, I saw somebody say, "Hey, anybody like Laserdisc? My dad just passed away, and he had a Laserdisc rental store." And I said, "I do like Laserdiscs. I'm cool with a rental store. I'll buy it from you." And he goes, "There's only one problem." I was like, "What?" He's like, I'm in Indonesia." And I was like, "That's not a problem. Ship it over." So I bought the entire Indonesian Laserdisc store, and it took me a year and a half, almost 2 years to go through it all because it was a mess. But it just like, I had been kind of interested in Hong Kong movies, and I kind of knew what he had, but not exactly. And I was just like, let's just see what it is. And so I didn't know most of what was coming. In fact, most of it wasn't even in the database. I had to look it up and figure it out and try to go through the whole thing. And just tons of things that just don't exist outside of this. And I just thought it was this interesting little rabbit hole, and I just started exploring it more and more. And so that's sort of how it happened. And I don't buy so much anymore for a plethora of reasons. One, I'm a little busier. Two is, the cheap deals are sort of gone, and there's a handful of people that snap them all up in the area now, and I don't have like the drop it out dime and drive somewhere to get something. And also, it's just a lot of work, and my brother has a child now too, so it's like, it is what it is. It sort of wound itself down. I do try to fill in holes a little bit now and then, but I don't really go after like buying a big collection of anything.
Well, like I said, we'll have time for Laserdisc collection questions later. We're going to talk about a few things like supplying Laserdisc cuts for physical media companies. We're going to talk about some of the more rare items. Of course, that's one of the more common questions that we hear a lot. But the cool thing, as we talk about some of these announcements, we're going to talk about some of these, and it's It's a lot. Funny enough, the first announcement that we're going to cover is going to be tied into some Laserdisc discussion. So let's talk about these announcements.
Alright.
First up, coming from Imprint on June 24th are all of these next slate that we're going to talk about. They are not available to pre-order until May 12th. This first one is Henry and June, and we are seeing a Laserdisc of Henry and June being held up by Brian already. Brian, why is this Laserdisc important, and why is this film important?
I don't know if the Laserdisc is particularly important, but as a movie, this is the first movie that ever got released with the NC-17 rating. So, if you want to do like a little Hollywood history, the NC-17 rating is sort of the MPAA's reaction to the X rating. And the X rating was started originally to sort of like shoehorn European cinema into an American audience and sort of let them know what it was. And then it sort of morphed over time to things like Midnight Cowboy and Last Tango in Paris. And then it morphed again into Deep Throat and hardcore. And, the hardcore companies, they were basically took that 1X rating and they made it triple X. The MPAA tried to sue and say, hey, you can't just steal our rating. And the hardcore companies were like, yeah, we didn't. We made it triple X. You don't have a triple X rating. And so they were a little bit miffed about this for a number of reasons. I mean, one thing is you have to pay to get a rating. So not being able to submit and saying you got a rating of triple X, just sort of undercuts their whole raison d'etre.
Their whole scam.
Their whole scam, yeah. So, the X rating still actually continues all the way through the 80s. Very little gets rated X. And then in 1989, actually, things like The Matador, when it gets released in the United States, it gets an X rating. And they're like, what? That doesn't make any sense. And then a bunch of upstart film producers, like this little guy, Harvey Weinstein, he brings in a movie, what is it? The Baker, the Butcher. I'm blanking on it now. The Cook, the Baker, the Butcher, the Baker.
The Cook, the Thief, his wife, and her lover.
Yeah. So he brings in that Peter Greenway movie, and it's like a combination of stunt / PR / actually wanting to. He tries to sue the MPAA and say that you can't give it an X rating because you're basically defaming my movie. The thing gets sort of thrown out of court, but the MPAA kind of sees the writing on the wall. A few months later, they come up with this NC-17, and Henry and June becomes their test case. And two more things about Henry and June. First of all, it's the follow-up movie by Philip Kaufman, who did The Unbearable Lightness of Being, which is a very good erotic movie. And he made Henry and June thinking it's not going to be as controversial as The Unbearable Lightness of Being. So he was a little bit surprised that it got the NC-17 rating. And when it did get the rating, the MPAA gave it the rating based on two qualifications. One, it said it had 5 distinct scenes of lesbian sex. Okay. And the other thing is it had a still image of a woman being pleased by an octopus. So those were the things that got it the NC-17 rating.
The third thing was Fred Ward.
And Fred Ward, bald Fred Ward is weird. But I did watch this movie this week, and it's okay. I will say, there's no drama or story in it. It's really more or less just the awakening of Anise Nin, and as she sort of comes to terms with who she is by sort of having a bunch of sexual escapades. But there's not Uma Thurman's in it, but she's not really naked in it. There's a lot of the sex scenes are actually somewhat off-putting. So the main couple, Anise and her husband, they go to a bordello to watch two women have sex, but it ends up being more grotesque than anything that you could consider kind of erotic. It's very strange. It's an okay movie. It's one I would say anybody curious, this is worth watching, worth a pickup.
Very interesting. This is one that I see doing probably pretty well for them. This is going to have special features, but they have not confirmed what those are yet. So check that out. Next one is Killer, a Journal of Murder from 1995 from Imprint. This is a first time on Blu-ray anywhere in the world. This is going to have a new interview with James Woods. And look at that. We got a Laserdisc for that one, too. This is crazy. I love that you just happen to have them.
I pulled them this week, so... But finish, please finish.
We've also got interview with the director. We've got interview with the producer, Janet Yang, interview with the author, James Long. That's it as far as interviews. All brand new interviews, though, including James Woods. But yeah, hit us with the Laserdisc.
Well, you know what it doesn't have? It doesn't have a special audio commentary by the director, which this Laserdisc does.
Stuck on the Laserdisc.
So that's just kind of one interesting thing. And I just wanted to point this out. So, like, not every movie is released all over the place, but, you know, that's what it looks like released in the US. And this is really more or less a made-for-TV movie that is, I watched this today, it's more or less a made-for-TV movie that was good enough that they released it theatrically. This is by Spelling Film and Republic. In the 90s, they're basically making stuff for TBS, TNT, whatever. But they also released it in Japan, and look how different that looks. But if you think that's really weird, it's one of the rare ones that got released in Indonesia. And that's how you know it's a made-for-TV movie, because most of these Indonesian releases are pre-sold. So this was probably a pre-sold item. So before they even made the movie, they sold home video rights to Indonesia, and you could buy it on Laserdisc there.
We just got 3 copies of Killer: A Journal of Murder on Laserdisc on the show. That is incredible.
So that's why sometimes I don't always know exactly what I'm getting. I know what I'm getting to a certain extent, but I don't know that movie until this week, and then I realized I had 3 versions of it.
Let's see. Brendan is asking a question, but we're going to talk about this later, just so you know. He says, I want to try a Laserdisc, but I don't know where to find a player. Brian will help you in just a little while, for sure. Let's continue on with some of these announcements, because Imprint, they are... I mean, I know you and I are fans of Imprint, but they are putting out a ton of stuff lately. Their third announcement for this group, again, first time on Blu-ray anywhere in the world, Victory from 1996. Pretty great cast on this one. We got Willem Dafoe, Sam Neill, Simon Callow. This is going to have a new audio commentary by Michael Brook. We got a new interview with Bill Paxton on this one, and that's going to be it. But that's pretty damn great to get both of those on one disc together. You going to show us a Laserdisc for Victory?
Didn't get released on Laserdisc, but it does sound really interesting. I honestly think this one seems interesting. I'll also say for the Killer, I don't like that movie. It's basically like a serial killer movie. But you know, in real life, he like raped like 1,000 men, killed 21 people. He went over to Africa as part of like a mercenary, in which he threw like 6 locals to crocodiles for fun. He also bought a 12-year-old girl and an 8-year-old girl. But in the movie, that Killer, they kind of try to make him a bit of a hero, and so you get sort of like James Woods like spouting a lot of nonsense. So
he's
I would
always
not
been that
suggest.
way. Got it.
Yeah, I would not suggest that one. But this one looks great.
I will say one thing is, when I saw this cover, obviously, like when you zoom in and really pay attention, it looks a lot like Willem Dafoe. This to me looks like a very grizzled Michael Shannon, and never really noticed how much Michael Shannon and Willem Dafoe look alike until this picture.
It's crazy.
All right. Next up is The Assignment. Again, first time on Blu-ray anywhere in the world. This is from 1997. Let's see it. That's a fun cover.
Yeah. I haven't seen this one.
Nice. Movie Eddie says 3 copies and he doesn't like the movie. Yeah, he's addicted.
But it doesn't matter. The thing is, it doesn't matter if I like it or don't like it. That's like not really that interesting. If you want to save what's left of it, you have to save all of it, in my opinion. Yep. So like, even if I don't like if I don't like a Blu-ray, I get rid of it or whatever. But like, if I don't like a Laserdisc, it doesn't devalue the thingness of that thing. So to me, it doesn't really matter if I like that movie or not.
Yeah, I get that one. So The Assignment, Aidan Quinn, Donald Sutherland, Sir Ben Kingsley. We got a trailer coming on the disc, and that's it. Was there anything stuck on this Laserdisc? I'm kind of curious.
There's nothing on the Laserdisc. No. I watched a little bit of it. It actually looked pretty interesting. It's kind of a Jackal movie. So like, there's it looked cool. Ben Kingsley is again playing a race that he is not, but whatever.
It's kind of what you could make a career out of. Imprint says, inspired by the real-life hunt for the Jackal, this gripping spy movie from the Art of War filmmaker Christian Duquet stars Aidan Quinn, Donald Sutherland, and Sir Ben Kingsley. This is 1,500 copies, like all of their regular releases that they do. Next up is the Trigger Effect from 1996. You're reaching, so we must got that one too. Look at that. I love this.
I got most of them that you're gonna announce, so don't worry about it.
That's amazing. All right. Ronnie wants to point out that Ben Kingsley is part Indian. So yeah.
Fair enough.
All right, the Trigger Effect. This one is the directorial debut of the acclaimed screenwriter David Koepp. This is going to have on it vintage interviews with Kyle MacLachlan, Elizabeth Shue, Dermot Mulroney, David Koepp, theatrical trailer, and more special features that they're going to confirm later. To be fair, it does not say more new special features, but I would hope that it would be something coming.
Yeah, this movie's not bad. I watched it this week as well. Like the first half, actually the first third, you think like an erotic thriller is going to break out, and then it sort of changes, and I'm interested in that, and then it really loses steam. The final 30 minutes is not good, but the first hour is quite good.
I love Elizabeth Shue.
Yeah, she's great. She's great.
She's always incredible.
She's great, and so was Dermot Mulroney in this movie. He's really good.
That's true. Speaking of good movies, Imprint on that same day releasing a 4K Blu-ray dual format of Bound. Now, yes, Bound has been released by Criterion on 4K here in the U.S., but this is going to be coming to Australia for the first time. It doesn't look like any of these extras are brand new. They are just ported over from the previous releases, but they might have better encoding than Criterion. Let's see it. We know you got it.
Well, this is the U.S. one, and you can see they basically just took the VHS image and they stuck it on a Laserdisc. Boring. So why have the US one? You can see this original artwork from the Japanese one.
Oh,
and this one's much cooler.
That's incredible. That's great.
Yeah, the Japanese one is awesome. And there's no special. Well, actually, the same commentary is actually on this Laserdisc that's around forever with the Wachowskis and the actresses and actor.
That was weird. It glitched out for a second, and now we're back.
Oh.
Ronnie says, I'm drooling over these Bound laser discs. Yeah, the Japanese one is incredible.
Yeah.
I kind of wish Criterion had used a version of that for their cover.
Yeah, it's actually very cool. And the Hong Kong Laserdisc kind of uses a version of this too. Another reason why I like these multiple copies is or versions, let's say, is that you can see how a movie is sold throughout the world in the moment. So in 1990, what is this? 1995, right?
Six.
In 1996, you know, there's a cover that's made for a VHS, and in the United States, nobody thinks to do anything, slaps it in the middle, releases the Laserdisc. But when they bring it to Asia, there's actually a different person and a different marketing team and a different whatever, and they select a different style of imaging and a different style of cover, and they make it for their own market. And, you know, you can tell like what they're selling, what they're interested in, and what they care about. And I think that actually can be instructive in and of itself.
Well, and, kind of relevant. I was going to ask about this later, but may as well ask it now, especially because somebody in the chat is bringing it up. This movie's 30 years old. This came out 30 years ago-ish on Laserdisc. We're facing some DVDs getting disc rot right now. Is there anything like disc rot for Laserdiscs?
Yeah, it gets complicated, but they do rot. It depends on where they're made. So they're really only about 15 places, a little more, maybe 18 places in the world that ever made Laserdiscs. The worst offender is there was a factory in Ohio called, I'll think of it in a second, but whatever. The factory in Ohio used to be a furniture manufacturing plant and switched over to Laserdisc, and their quality control was crap. So when you get their stuff, it tends to rot. The Japanese Laserdiscs are usually made of, they did have a couple smaller ones, but one of two places, and they made great press-ins. And then the couple others in the United States were very, very good as well. European Laserdiscs, like the PAL ones, they tend to rot a lot more often. And then when you look into East Asia, like some of those, they rot sometimes. But honestly, like if all you really care about is a picture quality, I would not suggest buying the Laserdisc.
Understandable. Although for a while, Laserdiscs, to be fair, were kind of the gold standard.
Oh yeah, they look great. They look very specific.
Yes, they do. And we'll talk about that. We'll talk about why they were even a format in a little bit. But that's not it for Imprint. Next up from them is from 1993. We got A Bronx Tale. This is one that has already come out elsewhere. So this is coming to Australia now. And now there is here a new interview with the star Catherine Narducci. There is some archival extras on here as well. There's all kinds of stuff going on here. But let's see A Bronx Tale.
So when I would buy collections, Lord knows what they were, or what would happen to them, or anything. So I can't authenticate this, but this one's signed by Chaz Palminteri and Robert De Niro.
What?
So I bought that for about $1. Maybe less. I mean, if you think about what I sold, what I didn't want for, they paid me to take this.
Right. That's crazy.
So yeah, maybe that's them, but that's The Bronx Tale. This is a very good movie. I like this movie a lot.
Yeah, it's a good movie. I've not seen it in a long time. Need to see it again. Great looking release from Imprint. This looks pretty dang exciting. Lots of extras here. Hopefully Imprint encodes this one pretty well. They've been doing fairly great with their 4Ks lately, so I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. Any other thoughts on A Bronx Tale?
No, it's definitely worth watching. If you haven't seen it, you should see it.
Cool. Then how about Game of Thrones? November 3rd in the US and Canada, and then November 2nd in the UK. We are getting this 15-year anniversary Steelbook library collection from Warner Brothers. And it's just Steelbooks, just 4K Steelbooks. All the discs are identical to every release that have always come out for this over the last 15 years. Thoughts on Game of Thrones? Because I'm not going to have a lot to say about it.
I mean, I watched it all when it came out. I liked it. Last week, what's the actor who played Jon Snow? Kit something?
Kit Harington.
Yeah, I worked with him last week. He's the same height as me, and I'm not very tall, so I was surprised. Very nice, very British. But yeah, it's I think it's one of those things that, like, like when you think about like The Sopranos, like if you weren't watching it in the early 2000s, it seems like a chore to go back and watch that much now. I think Game of Thrones is kind of like that. Especially if you don't like fantasy. And fantasy, honestly, is not really my thing, but I don't know why. I just was into this one.
Well, maybe I'd like it because I'm not into fantasy and I've not watched more than, 40 seconds of this thing ever total.
Yeah, if you don't like it, you don't like it. No problem with that.
I will say I breezed right through The Sopranos years after it played, and that was still great. All right. Next up, Flight from 2012, getting a 4K and Blu-ray release from Kino Lorber on July 21st. We got a new audio commentary by Julie Kurgo and Peter Hankoff, and there's also a new interview with Robert Zemeckis on this, and then the screenwriter John Gattens is on that interview as well. Any thoughts on Denzel, Zemeckis, or Flight?
I've never seen Flight. I think that's in that halcyon time when I didn't see anything, but I always like a good Denzel Washington movie. I'm not sure Robert Zemeckis has made anything good in a long time, but maybe I'm wrong.
Well, not only that, John Goodman's in this, which means it has to be a good movie.
That's fun too.
All right. Next up, we've got the second of the Kino Lorber Brit Noir collections that they are doing. This one is coming on June 30th, and this covers 1952 to 1956. The mighty Jack Hawkins takes center stage in this triple feature of this noir. We got an audio commentary for the film Home at 7 by Julie Kurgo and Peter Hankoff. We got an audio commentary for The Intruder by Julie Kurgo and Peter Hankoff. We got an audio commentary for The Long Arm by Lawrence Lerman. Any thoughts on those three films or British noir?
I haven't seen any of them, but they're all interesting to me. I like these Kino sets. Actually, I like most of what Kino does, but not always. I just wish there was a little bit better. But I think they're usually interesting and they're cheap, so it's easy to pick up when the sales are on.
Yeah, this one will likely end up at $10
$12
during a sale,
yeah.
And I mean, how do you complain about three films that are pretty good?
Yeah.
Next up, we've got a June 23rd 4K release from Kino of Hang 'em High from 1968. Previously, this was done, I believe, by Shout on Blu-ray as part of that Shout Select collection. This one is going to have a new audio commentary by Steve Mitchell. We got an archival commentary by Lem Dobbs and Nick Redman on this one as well. That is it, other than a trailer. Hang 'em High.
I know you don't like Eastwood, but I actually think it's a pretty good one. And the original Laserdisc looks really cool. They use this like painted art.
That is pretty cool.
It's a pretty violent movie. I like this one. This one is not bad. It's like It's actually like a real. It feels a little bit more like a spaghetti western than a lot of his other stuff.
Maybe
So,
I'll like it more then. All right. Next up, one that we know you don't have on Laserdisc. May 25th, we're getting a Blu-ray and DVD release over in the UK from Lightbulb Films of Diabolic from 2025. This says, after suffering terrifying blackouts, a young woman returns to the religious compound where she was raised. As she unravels the dark secrets of her past, an ancient ritual unleashes the vengeful spirit of a cursed witch. I believe, and I know that you pay attention a lot to them, wasn't this released by Umbrella as well?
yeah, I think it was.
Got it. That's where I'm recognizing it from. Diabolic. Did you pick this one up? Did you end up watching this?
I didn't get this one. I really like Umbrella a lot, but the cost benefit analysis of continuing to like Umbrella a lot sometimes like pumps the brakes a little bit on it for me. But they put out like they do just killer releases, but they're just gigantic.
Yeah.
And expensive. Yeah.
And that's, I mean, the big thing, I don't remember if we covered it on the show. Just recently, just a heads up, even if we did cover it, we may as well drive it in. Umbrella did raise their price for free shipping recently. It used to be $140 US, and now I think it's $200 US. And that's a significant difference. It used to be you could buy like a movie and a half,
Yeah.
and that would be enough for free shipping. And now it's, I mean, you got to get essentially 3 and pay like $240 sometimes.
I mean, that being said, did you get the kids release? That is a crazy.
Not the big
release.
deluxe. I've got like the standard that they did.
Look, that is. I mean, I'm a big fan of that. I remember seeing that in high school. So when I saw that, I was like, go for it. And it hadn't been out forever. So like, they really do a good job of mining like my childhood. I feel.
Kids is your child.
I mean, no, but it was like existed at the time. Yeah.
I mean, I had to make that comment. Somebody
Fair
needed
enough.
to.
Fair enough.
All right, let's keep going. June 23rd from Wellgo USA, we get a Blu-ray and DVD coming of Dirty Hands from 2025. This will have a trailer on the disc, and that is it. Just want to point out what I said at the beginning. Wellgo USA, you put out pressed discs of good films. People will continue to buy them. You do this BDR that is locked to Amazon and very expensive, you're going to do a lot worse than normal. This is not a great move, and I hope that they go back to doing what they used to, because Wellgo's done some good stuff over the years.
Yeah, I have a handful of Wellgo things that I really enjoy.
Yeah. Speaking of Wellgo, the next thing, June 2nd, they're doing a Blu-ray and DVD of 731 from 2025. If you recognize that number, it's because this is the Japanese Imperial Army's notorious Unit 731 during World War II. That was also the subject of a couple, we'll say, notorious films, or okay, 3 notorious films before this, known as the Men Behind the Sun trilogy. This says, based on the true horrors conducted by that Japanese Imperial Army's notorious Unit 731 during World War II, under the pretense of science, prisoners are used for inhumane and tortuous experimentation in developing bacterial and chemical weapons. Ordered to organize and pacify his fellow prisoners, a man witnesses the harrowing corruption and suffering in the camp. The long-suppressed war crimes and horrific experimentation remain one of humanity's darkest moments of depravity. This is a wild-looking trailer. I think people should watch the trailer because it looks crazy. Anyways. Going to our next one, and it blacked out. That's really weird. Thanks, Instagram, for failing me in this moment. What is our next one? Okay, I guess it doesn't like that post. Let's just carry on. That's weird. Why is it not showing this one random post? What is this? All right. Anyways, fast forward. Fast Forward is coming on Blu-ray in the U.S. from Alliance. This is from 1984, and it's coming as part of their retro VHS collection. It's literally just a Blu-ray in a slipcover that's made to look like it has a VHS in it. There's not going to be any special features on these discs whatsoever, except maybe a trailer sometimes. Flash Forward is a Sidney Poitier film, and we've got a Laserdisc for this one. Oh, that is a much better cover. Better cover.
I didn't get to watch it, which I'm a little bummed out. That was my next one, but I ran out of time.
Interesting. Yeah, that I like that art a lot more.
Yeah.
Have you seen this one?
Me? No, I haven't seen it yet.
From what I hear, this is awful. Anybody in the chat seen this one?
Doesn't surprise me. This is like way past Sidney Poitier's, prime as far as having any power and ability in Hollywood.
Right, right. 1980s was not the boon for for Poitier direction. June 30th, we got the same thing coming. We've got You Light Up My Life from 1977 coming as part of this retro VHS collection. This one is a Joel Silver film with Didi Khan. Do we have a laser disc for You Light Up My Life?
Doesn't exist on Laserdisc.
Understandable. I kind of not surprised in any way that it doesn't exist.
It's like a little bit before, so like 78 is when it starts, which I guess we'll talk about later. So if it's released in 77 and it has like nobody who cares about it, it's not going to get a Laserdisc release,
Yeah, that makes sense. All right, let's go to our next one, which all of a sudden Alliance pumping out these retro VHS collections. June 30th, they're now doing White Palace, the Jason Alexander, Susan Sarandon, and Kathy Bates starring film with, of course, the magnet for erotic thrillers, Mr. James Spader, and I Hear a Laserdisc. Oh, look at that. Same cover. Nice.
Yeah, the same. This movie is actually pretty darn good. I would give this a lot more credit than it has. It's like a May-December movie. Where like Susan Sarandon's 43 when she's actually 43, and James Spader plays a 27-year-old and he's actually 27, and she's sort of like a poor waitress from the wrong side of the tracks, and he's a rich Jewish guy from the right side of the tracks. And will they get together? Will they not? It's a little cheesebally at times, but especially like the first half, they really go for it, and it's pretty darn good. And James Spader is like always doing something interesting. I think it's absolutely worth a watch. Whether or not you want to buy it, I don't know, but it's definitely worth watching.
Is it actually erotic with that cover?
I mean, there's a lot of nudity in it. I don't know if that matters. How much Susan Sarandon nudity did you want? Because there's a lot of it.
All right. Well, let's go to our next
James
one.
Spader butt.
That's always a good thing. June 30th,
Yeah.
the next from that Alliance line of retro VHS collection, we've got Cold Steel from 1987. The face you recognize there is Jonathan Banks from Breaking Bad, of course. We've got Sharon Stone in this one as well. We got Brad Davis. This one sounds pretty damn good. LAPD detective Johnny Modine's world is shattered when his father is brutally murdered. Determined to avenge his father's death, Johnny puts his career and his sanity on the line in an all-out effort to bring the killer to justice. But his road to satisfaction is littered with some very familiar and deadly characters, and he soon discovers that the death was anything but random. Hit us.
So this is the Hong Kong release, which is the only place it got released on Laserdisc. I really like how they put Sharon Stone in there. And now, why would you think that this would get released in Hong Kong
Which is very
in 1992? Why would that be? I have no idea. But maybe it's because they keep putting her everywhere else. Tie her up. But she has like one sex scene in the movie. It's okay. The real thing about this movie that's kind of interesting is that it's directed and written by Dorothy Ann Puzo,
Yep.
Mario Puzo's daughter.
Yep.
Imprint released it with nothing on it as well, which is too bad. But it's okay. I liked it. I didn't love it. I liked it. There's two cool car chases, and the final fight is pretty cool. Middle, a little wonky.
Better than some of the movies that we've got releases for.
Oh yeah, no, it's definitely worth a watch.
All right. Next up, June 30th, we got a Blu-ray and DVD coming in the U.S. from Mubi of last year's film, The Mastermind from Kelly Reichardt. I saw this one in theaters. Did you happen to catch this one last year?
Yeah, I saw it on Mubi. I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah. I like this one a lot. I know that it was semi-divisive. A lot of people, I think the people that like Kelly Reichardt really like this one. And
she does the same movie. So if you don't like Kelly Reichardt, why are you watching the same movie again? It's the same movie.
It's great. For some people, it's just too slow and not enough happens. But man, it's just so well made. It's fun. You're along for a fun story. And Josh O'Connor, man, he had a hell of a year last year. Dude can act.
He's great. He's really great. This is definitely worth checking out.
I agree. Rumor is right now, by the way, if you're a format stickler or something like that, the rumor is Mubi is putting out a 4K of this, but only in the UK, not in the US, which kind of an odd choice, especially from a company like Mubi, who's not necessarily doing super well with everybody right now. So,
wait, people don't like Mubi?
Yeah, they had some investment money that was found out to be from some dark places.
Yeah, that makes sense. Fair enough.
Next up, finally getting a 4K release in the UK after it already had one here in the US. We got Studio Canal putting out a 4K of Rush. This one is from 2013, and this will be on June 29th. This will have deleted scenes, the real story of Rush, and a race for the checkered flag, the making of Rush. I had never seen this one. I got to admit, not a huge Ron Howard fan for a lot of movies. Bad, not good.
Not good. I don't see this movie, but I would not choose to spend my time with Ron Howard in almost any way, shape, or form. Although my kids love the stupid live-action Grinch movie. And I don't know why. They love it. They love it so much. I see it like 4 times every holiday season. It's nuts.
Carrie's fantastic in that movie, but
I guess. But it's not the Jim Carrey I remember.
I agree. I also, for some reason, I enjoyed Eden last year, and I can't really say why. The one with Sydney Sweeney, and yeah, it was all right.
I mean, he's a competent director. He's just not any. I don't think he's any fun. Like,
well, he is the most vanilla director you could ever imagine.
Oh yeah, God.
Let's talk about some films that already have multiple releases. June 22nd, we're getting a collector's edition 4K steelbook in the UK from Anime Limited of The Dark Crystal from 1982. They're also doing just like a standard 4K steelbook where you just get the steelbook itself. But if you want all of the bells and whistles with this thing, you can check it out. It's got a double-walled rigid box inner steelbook packaging and a 64-page art book with this. It will have additional bonus Blu-ray discs with extra features, all that fun stuff. But of course, at the same time, they're also doing Labyrinth, an essentially identical style packaging. It's the same steelbooks that have come out previously. Nothing new on that front. None of the extras are going to be new, but I'm sure these have laser discs.
Yeah, the Dark Crystal Japanese one is really cool.
Interesting. Is that how rare is that one?
I don't think it's crazy rare. This is an old press. This is not going to be like the best looking one, but the cover is really great. And then just this one is not really worth a ton of time thinking about, but you notice they never really change this Labyrinth cover.
Yeah.
So I makes me believe that there's like some reason that this guy has to be somewhere dead center on 100%. The cover. So that's why it never changes. So anytime you get Labyrinth, you always have that on the cover.
Yep. There's got to be some sort of, not only just contract of him, but obviously he can't approve another likeness. He can't sign off on anything. The estate probably doesn't even want to consider signing off on any of it. Nope. So yeah, we're kind of stuck with it. And I believe, if I remember right, that Labyrinth one is Drew Struzan.
Oh, is it?
I think so.
Oh, that's cool, at least.
It certainly looks like it, at least.
Right, it does look like it. I mean, it's not bad art. It's just the same one for 40 years.
Yeah, for everything, forever. Eddie says Japanese laser covers were the best till my last Starfighter framed. Nice. I'm sure.
Oh, yeah, that's a beautiful one. It's a beautiful one. That one is becoming more and more valuable. So keep it, especially if you have the Obi. You know, the Obi is the side strip. If you get I believe the Obi on that is shiny foil. So if you have the shiny foil Obi, you got some good money there.
Nice. All right, next up, July 7th, G-Kids and Shout are working together on a Blu-ray release of All You Need Is Kill from 2025. I've heard this is very great, have not seen this. This will have a director scene breakdown on the disc, director and cast pre-screening discussion, storyboards with director commentary, art gallery, teasers, and trailers. That being said, again, if you're like a format whore or somebody that loves steelbooks, G-Kids and Shout have been sort of like leaking or pre-listing some of the Blu-ray releases and then listing a 4K on some of their titles, and maybe within a couple months doing like a 4K steelbook. So you might want to hold out on this. This isn't going to be super limited, but if it's one you're after, just keep an eye out. They technically haven't even announced everything for this month. This is just one that came out early, so we can keep an eye out for more on that one. Have you seen this one? I'm assuming not.
No, I haven't seen it, but it looks interesting.
Yeah. Next up, one more of those retro VHS releases. 1988's Sunset is coming on June 23rd from Alliance. This one says it's 1929. Tom Mix has been cast to play the legendary lawman Wyatt Earp. Trouble is, Earp has been hired as a technical expert on the film, so the Old West and the New Hollywood collide, becoming a vivid backdrop for a shocking murder mystery. This one has James Garner, Bruce Willis, Blake Edwards, Kathleen Quinlan. Do we have a Laserdisc for Sunset?
Yeah, you do have a Laserdisc of Sunset.
Nice. Same
also,
cover.
you see it's the same cover because they did again. They just stuck the VHS and the Laserdisc. I haven't seen this, but this looks actually interesting.
Yeah,
I honestly think this could be fun. It's like really late Blake Edwards, so
and very early Bruce Willis.
Yeah, picture a little bit of old man movie in some ways, but like sometimes they're fun.
Yeah,
I will say though, rarely a director's last movies are the good stuff, but you never know.
Sad but true. Unless they die unexpectedly.
Yeah, or it's Kubrick.
Right. True.
Oh, I guess he died unexpectedly.
That's true. I guess I was wrong. I forgot there was one more. We got 1984's Love Lines also coming to this Alliance Retro VHS. This is on June 23rd. I have to think this one had a Laserdisc.
It does not, unfortunately.
Whoa.
I thought it would too. I was certain it did, but it did not.
Interesting. Very interesting. Yeah, I've never seen this movie. Fun cover on this. Have you seen this one?
No, I haven't. This looked. I was like actually hoping it had a Laserdisc to see it because it looked interesting.
Nice. Yeah, this is one I'd be curious to see if anybody in the chat has seen. I'd love to hear some feedback on that one.
I actually kind of like if those are all priced decently. I think a lot of those movies are worth checking out. I think they're interesting things.
So here's the problem. When Mill Creek was releasing these, and it was all, the Sony titles, they were able to be got for like $12.
Yeah, I remember.
These are now listed on all the third-party retailers right now for $27.99.
Wow, that's crazy.
For a bare bones Alliance Blu-ray with a retro VHS slipcover, and that's it.
That's crazy.
$28, Brian.
That's nuts. I was thinking they would be $16, $17.
They popped up for pre-order on Amazon, and it said $27.99. I went, okay, it's Amazon pre-order. That'll drop. It'll be at most, it's been a few years. Okay, $17.99, $18.99, something like that. And then on third-party retail, Atomic has it for $27.99.
That's rough. That's rough.
I'm sorry. These are not worth $27.99.
Especially because nobody's seen these movies. These are all things that are so deep in like an archive of an archive of an archive.
And it's great. Some of them have not been released on Blu-ray before, so that's exciting. But my goodness, oh gosh, that's a lot of money for these. All right, Warcraft from 2016 is getting a 10-year anniversary 4K Steelbook on June 16th from Universal. Nothing new on the disc, just the exact same disc. 10-year anniversary Steelbook. I'm not a Warcraft guy. You're not a fantasy guy. Is this a movie you've seen?
No, I've never seen this.
From what I hear, it's not terrible, but it also supposedly clued in on a possible sequel, and then it bombed, so they did nothing with it. So, a little open-ended. Yeah. Next up, speaking of odd steelbook, 1962's To Kill a Mockingbird getting a 4K steelbook on June 16th. Again, had already been out on 4K. This is not like a brand new premiere or anything like that. This has to have a Laserdisc, no?
It does. It does. I didn't actually bring it. Could do a small mix-up. It actually has a special edition Laserdisc, and it's part of what's called the Signature series of Laserdiscs from Universal. And most of the special features actually are on the Laserdisc. The big old gatefold and had a bunch of stuff, but I forgot it and I didn't bring it.
Oh, that's too bad. That's
sorry.
Right. You shared 3 copies of one thing early. You're ahead of the game.
I got a couple more.
1996's Eraser. We had talked about this one coming to 4K Steelbook. Well, they also revealed that it will be getting a standard 4K. Those are both coming on June 16th in the US. That'll be June 15th in the UK. This will have new special features. We got Reinventing the Modern Action Hero, The Evolution of Arnold, and then 90s action thriller reimagined. I'm hearing the sound of a sleeve. Look at this.
That's the Japanese one.
Yeah.
So somebody was asking in the chat, does about rot? So the classic edition or a classic Laserdisc that tends to rot is the US edition of Eraser. Almost always is rotted, but the Japanese one plays perfectly and it has a better cover, anyways. But I would say this movie does not need a 4K for most of it. Although some of it might look good, but the visual effects are going to look rough.
Yeah, they are. Unless they spent way more than
No
they
way.
definitely did not.
They did not.
but
They
yeah,
didn't do it for X-Men. They're never going to do it for Eraser.
right. ZPam is talking about this artwork. Good lord, this artwork, eh?
Yeah, it's not good. But
Really bad Photoshop.
I saw the special edition one had a different artwork, right?
The steelbook looks pretty nice.
Steelbook,
It's
yeah, that looked pretty good.
very very green. Yeah, that one looks decent at the very least. Yeah, it's fine. It's certainly not bad.
I kind of like this movie though, to be honest. I put it on this morning when I was biking, and I have no real complaints about it. It's like Arnold at the height of Arnold. Like if you like Schwarzenegger movies, so you get basically like all those classics. Then you get Eraser, and then what is it, End of Days, and then the Sixth Day, and then it's all over. So like it's not so bad.
Yeah, I mean I like Arnold quite a bit.
Yeah,
I'm into it. Lionsgate Limited had some announcements this week. May 19th, they are doing a 4K Blu-ray dual format of Ginger Snaps. This is just the first film from 2000. This is number 39 in their Vestron video collection, which means this is the second 4K UHD from Vestron, the first being The Substitute. This will have a lot of the legacy special features from the previous second sight release. The Lionsgate Limited new extra will be called the Packed Ginger Snaps Forever. There is the second sight that Brian's got there. This is the inside sleeve art, which is the original poster, and then another new copy of the new art. I got to admit, not a huge Ginger Snaps guy. Never loved this movie.
Really?
Any thoughts on this for you?
Oh, I like this. I only saw the first one, but the first one I think is pretty good. I actually saw it in the theaters. You said it came out in 2000, but I remember seeing it in 2001, but maybe I'm wrong. But yeah, I think I saw it in New York. But anyways, I thought the first one's cool.
Yeah, I mean it's certainly the best of the three by far. I mean I don't know if I should be surprised. Vestron has been quite lazy lately, but I am surprised when Second Sight already had a trilogy Blu-ray out and it did very well. I'm kind of surprised they didn't just do 4K on all three of them, because that would have enticed a lot more people to buy.
Yeah, I'm surprised too. I wonder what did they shoot 2 and 3 on? Like what years did those come out?
Yeah, those. I mean, they had to have been fairly quick after that.
Which I have it right here. I could look. I wish I could look. I'm old and I need glasses.
I have a feeling the third one was probably not on film.
The thing is also, if they get into that hairy area where everybody just has these 2K DIs, it's like you can't do anything.
Well, so then here's the thing. At least put them, put the 4K of the first one and put a Blu-ray of the next two.
Yeah, that's true.
Because I don't think the second and third one have had Blu-ray releases in the States, although I may be not remembering. Anyways, this is not the only Lionsgate Limited release this month. We also have Hearts of Darkness from 1991, the documentary about Apocalypse Now and the making of. This is those two releases, by the way, are coming from Lionsgate Limited on May 19th. On this is just all of the legacy special features for a film that a lot of people call a special feature. The Lionsgate Limited extras, they've got lots of documentaries on here. They've got A Visit to China's Mao Country from 1996, Circle of Memory, Coda, Eleanor Coppola Introduction, Coda 30 Years Later, Making of Marie Antoinette, Francis Ford Coppola directs The Rainmaker on the set of CQ, Making of the Virgin Suicides, 4 short and they'll be on this one primarily. And I'm hearing a sleeve again. Do we have something for this?
Sorry, I should mute my microphone.
No, you're good. You're good.
That's the Laserdisc. I actually love this movie. I sort of balked at the cost of the UK one, but I might get this one if it's not unreasonable, because this is a super. If anybody's interested in what it's like to make a movie, especially in like 78, 79, this is great.
Yeah,
this is really great. Nothing but praise for that movie. 5-star movie.
I also just love documentaries about making movies. They're always at least fun, although sometimes not very good. All right, next up, speaking of not very good, June 23rd, we get a Blu-ray coming from Sony of I Know What You Did Last Summer, the complete series. This was an Amazon original show that they did about 5 years ago. I saw the remake of the movie last year and hated it. And from what I hear, this is better than the movie that came out last year, but still bad. Any thoughts? I'm sure you did not see this.
No, I didn't see this. I do like the first 2 movies, though.
Yeah, the first 2 are fine. They're okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Next, we got a weird one here. June 23rd, we got a Blu-ray coming from Decal here in the States of Julia Ducournau's Alpha from this year in the US, last year in the UK. Wanted to remind everybody when I posted this that Curzon just recently released this in 4K, and the US isn't even getting a pressed Blu-ray. This is going to be a mod Blu-ray. This is a bad choice. I don't understand why they're essentially telling everybody, yeah, we don't care. Just go buy the UK version. This will have an interview with the director on it and a teaser and a trailer. I have not yet gotten to see this one. Is this one that you've been able to see?
Yeah, I haven't seen it, but I have a couple friends who saw it, and they were actually kind of pushing me to see it at the end of last year. They were like, this movie's great. They thought it was like really like the kind of movie that I would like. So I'm assuming that means it's like somewhat dirty, somewhat subversive, a little bit dark, but very French, I think. But
I would hope so. Have you seen all of her other stuff? All both of them?
Yeah, I think there's only 2 others, right? I saw one of them. I'm trying to remember. What were the titles again? Because I know I went to the theater with them.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. But yeah, that looked interesting. I mean, I think that movie looks interesting. It's too bad it got a crap release in the States, but totally interesting.
Yep, that's all right. I got the UK one. We're good. We also had an exciting week because we got Mondo Macabro announcements. All of these are going to be coming mid-June. They're going to be up for pre-order on it's going to be live on Thursday, May 7th at 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern. And I love Mondo Macabro. Do you have an ongoing history with Mondo Macabro, Brian?
Yeah, all those. I have like, I don't know, 50 of them or so.
Nice.
I think you actually, no, it was, I'm sorry, there's a DVD that they put out of Indonesian action movies. So I bought that one, and then I think it was actually your show, one of the early times I watched or listened to an archive episode where you were talking to the Mondo people, and I was like, huh. And then I looked them up, and then I basically pre-order every time they come out, because there's like some of them I haven't loved, but they're always interesting and they're always weird, and they're done with love. You can tell like they're like even when there's not many special features, you can be like, oh, this is what they could get, or this is what they could figure out. And I think there's only like one that I really didn't like. So
interesting. Yeah, I can only think of maybe 3 that I actively disliked. Every single one, though, I've enjoyed watching. They're a blast. This first title is interesting because I don't think they've done this before. We've got a limited 4K release coming and a limited Blu-ray release coming. The 4K release is going to have a slipcover and a black case, and then the Blu-ray release is going to have a red case like they always do. The 4K is limited to 1,200 copies. Blu-ray is limited to 500 copies, and they're all going to be limited, hand-numbered, or not hand-numbered, but individually numbered like they always are. And this first title is The Blood Rose from 1970. This is one that they had released previously on DVD, so this is an upgrade for them, going up 2 separate formats. This is a movie that I need to watch again. It's been a long time, but I remember enjoying it at least. We get a new 4K restoration from the original negative. We got interview with the producer on here, interview with Hubert and George Bauman, interview with the cinematographer, and Memories of Claude Mulot by Brigitte Lahaye, archival interview with Didier Philippe Girard, French and U.S. trailers, publicity parade of stills posters and video sleeves, some radio spots. And then if you buy the limited version, you get the slipcover if you get the 4K release, reversible sleeve, set of art cards, full color booklet with writing on the film's production history, and they are numbered copies. The Blood Rose. Have you seen this one?
No, I mean, none of these I've seen, but looks interesting to me.
Yeah, I've not seen any of these either. That is for sure. One of these, though, is going to be really fun to talk about. Yeah, The Devil is about to leave AMC Plus. Thanks for shouting that out. Good movie. Everybody should see it at least once.
I love The Devils. That movie rocks.
Well, and I don't normally rumor monger on here or anything like that. Rumor is we might finally be hearing about an actual decent physical release of that here pretty soon. So
amazing.
I sure hope that rumor is panning out to be true.
I've actually started watching a lot of Ken Russell movies recently. I don't think I liked them, but I really grown on me. He has a very like singular style that
he does.
You know what? I respect the fact that he's doing something different. So yeah, he's cool.
The flashy fever dream that he pulls off on almost every single movie is always fun, and yeah, it's a good time. We like hearing the purring though. You don't have to mute. It's okay.
I didn't want to bother. My cat was yelling for me, so I can call my cat and she comes.
We like cats.
My cat has one eye.
Oh,
and she's old, and so usually this part of the night she's on top of me, and she was confused why I wasn't in my spot, or one of my 2 spots. So I called her up, and she sits on my lap.
Nice. All right. Next up is from Mono Macabro still. We got Morbo from 1972. They had revealed previously that this was coming. We've got the art here and the reverse of the sleeve. This one is supposedly pretty great. This is a film that a lot of people have been waiting for a long time. This will be region free. We get a brand new 4K restoration from the original negative. You got the English or Spanish audio on this one with English subtitles. Profile of the career of Anna Belon. We got interview with the Sitges Film Festival director Angel Sala about the film, audio commentary by Rod and Troy from the Nashi cast, and then if you get the limited, you get a reversible sleeve with new art by Justin Coffey on the A side and the original ad art on the B. Set of art cards, full color booklet with new writing on the film by Spanish film expert Ishmael Fernandez, and this is going to be limited to 1,000 copies. Only 1,000. Had you heard about this one before the announcements?
I don't think there's only one of these I had heard of, and it's not this one.
Is it the party hat censored one?
Yep.
I can't wait to talk about that one.
I know a little bit about that movie.
Next one up is part of their Greek collection. This is number 6 in that collection. We've got a double feature of Lust in the Swamps and Secret of Sinful Athens. Both of these are from 1966. They are going to have on the disc. This is a region-free disc. We got a new 2K restoration on both from the original negatives. Greek language track with optional English subtitles. Tribute to Zeta Apostolou. Remembering Anestis Vlahos. Archival interview with Anestis as well. Greek poster presentation with Jacques Spoor. Trailer for Secrets of Sinful Athens. A tribute to Aklis Janakis. I guess Greek is maybe the only thing I'm worse than French. We'll see. Exploitation films of DaCosta Carrion, Sinful Athens Publicity Parade, and then the limited one will have a reversible sleeve, each highlighting one of the 2 films. Set of art cards, full color booklet with new writing about the films, and this will be only limited to 1,000 as well, like the last one. Kind of a low print run, but I get it. The last few things that they've done like this did not sell super well. It took a while to sell out, so this is interesting. Any thoughts on these?
I honestly think it's impressive that they sell 1,000. This
Yeah.
you really like pulling. I think it's because they have a really loyal fan base.
They do.
I bet you they sell 500 to 600 almost no matter what, and then it's sort of like managing the rest because they're a bit of a brand in the Vinegar Syndrome way, but a much smaller version of it. And and I feel like they are true to what they want to be, and it's like you're either into it or you're not. And if you're into it, you're gonna go for it. And if you're not, they don't care. Move on.
That's true. That's true. All right, here it is.
Oh yeah, you did censor with the party hat. Hilarious.
So from 1989, and funny enough, I didn't censor this. Mondo posted it like this.
Oh wow.
Mondo posted this cover art. This is Marquis from 1989, and the censoring that you see here precariously placed because under this party hat is a wooden dong.
Yeah.
And it's quite apparent what it is. So this says, films don't get much wilder than this one. The bizarre French satirical phantasmagoria Marquis making its U.S. Blu-ray debut. Imprisoned in the Bastille for a minor act of blasphemy, the Marquis navigates lust, censorship, and the chaos of pre-revolutionary France. Through his wild imagination, he escapes into scandalous tales he writes down on scraps of paper, but the idea of a real escape begins to take shape when his cellmates start planning their breakout to join the revolutionary movement beyond the Bastille walls. This truly astonishing film, loosely based on the life of the notorious Marquis de Sade, is like nothing you've ever seen before. The characters in the story are all animals. Dogs, cows, hens, rats, etc. But this is not animation. The cast are played by real actors in specially created, life-sized heads of whichever animal they are portraying. The Marquis is a cheery spaniel, the naive Justine is a heifer, the dominatrix Juliet is a mare, and the head of the notorious Bastille prison is a sexually rapacious cockerel. And as though that wasn't enough, the Marquis's constant companion in this grim prison cell is his oversized talking penis, which pops out of his trousers to hold long conversations with him about the state of the world.
Yeah, there was a video store in New York called Kim's Video, and they I love the way that they organized things, and they would organize like it was decade, country, director, and then some genre. But they also had in their French section just Marquis de Sade. So it was like Justine and what is the other one that Blue Underground put out? There was another one. Oh yeah. Whatever. Oh, wait, what is it? The Philosophy of the Bourgeois. But anyway, they had a bunch of different markets, and they had this. I believe it was on VHS, and I didn't have a VHS player there, but I remember picking it up, reading the back, and being like, "Is that dog talking to his dick?" And that's all I knew about it.
Oh man, yeah, this is special. So this one, by the way, is going to be region-free, brand new 2K restoration from the original negative on this. French audio with optional English subtitles, audio commentary with the cast and crew, a making of featurette, the creation of Marquis, faces beneath the masks, a trailer, and image gallery, storyboards. Telecat video. We've got a reversible sleeve, full color booklet about the film's production history. Limited to 1,000. Like this is the must buys for me.
Yeah, it's
this
amazing.
week.
It's amazing.
I cannot wait. This is
How-
one of
how
those
random.
things, right? The film with the talking penis. Like
You know what? You know what's really funny? This is getting a Blu-ray before Quills, Philip Kaufman's 2001 Marquis de Sade adaptation, is getting a Blu-ray. Take that.
Craig, this would have been such a fun Deaf Crocodile release.
That would have been hilarious.
There's a commentary by the dog's penis at Cinema Force. That would have been great, staying in character for a whole commentary played by a dog's penis. My goodness, yeah, this is incredible. All right, so that is Marquis. That's Mondo. Reminder: all of these will be going up for pre-order. I did not include the information there. Pre-order for these will be on Thursday, May 7th at 10 a.m. Pacific and 1 p.m. Eastern. So check that out. Set your alarms. Hopefully they don't sell too quick. Speaking of selling too quick, I have a feeling this one is going to go fairly quickly. We've got from New Wave Video in Australia, they are doing Takashi Miike's wild breastfeeding movie. Visitor Q from 2001. Still kind of amazed. Instagram has let me keep this cover up without censoring it. There's a little bit of nipplage kind of slipping through. The Visitor Q. Have you seen this one?
Yeah, I saw it. I saw it in the theater. It's
Not in a theater.
Yeah, I saw it in the theater. I had seen Audition, and then I believe it came like I was at an Asian film festival. I believe it was like the next day they showed Visitor Q. This was 2001, right?
Yep, 2001.
Yeah. The next day I saw Visitor Q, and I was like, those are the first two Takashi Miike films that I saw, and I was like, this guy is insane. And then I saw a few more, and then I didn't see it any for a long time. But it's I think it's shot on mini DV too, is it not?
It is. Yeah, this is not going to be
rough.
like truly high definition.
But to be honest, if you're gonna do a mini DV film, you might as well just make it Blu-ray. Like that's as best as it's gonna look. It's never gonna look better.
Yeah, and it is a brand new transfer from the original master tape. They have cleaned this up. Speaking of this playing in a theater, I will say this has not been legally allowed to be shown in a theater in the U.S. for over 20 years at this point. The rights have not been allowed to play here, but I can say we might be talking about this playing in theaters again here soon. We'll bring that up again soon. On this disc, we got a new interview with Takashi Miike. We got a new video introduction by filmmaker and historian Andrew Leavold. We got a new Descent into Digital Hell, Visitor Q, Then and Now, an appreciation by my friend Mr. Ron Peterson. Hi, Ron. New Distorted Disturbance, the radical digital aesthetics of Visitor Q, visual essay by Joe Hickenbottom. And then we've got a booklet with new essays by Amber Key and Michelle Kisner. New slipcover artwork, which is really great on this, by Sean Longmore. The inner art is really great, too. New Wave Video, John, just bravo. You're doing incredible work. Proud to be associated with you in any way. You are crushing it out there. cannot wait to show the world what the rest of this year's releases are going to be from you. You are doing very, very good. Gary is asking, is New Wave Video going to do Love Exposure soon? Yes, they are, and it is the complete version that's still never been released. It is longer than any version that you've seen out there legally yet, and it will be coming later this year.
That's when it's like 4 hours, right?
Even longer.
Oh,
yes. Stay tuned for that. We'll be hearing about that soon. Next up, we got some indicator announcements. We've got July 20th in the UK, July 21st in the US, a Blu-ray coming of Full House from 1952, and this is not your Uncle Jesse's Full House. This is Michael Simon as Maigret. We've got Raymond Rouleau as Wen. We've got some problems streaming to Twitch. Oh no, something happened. That's all right. We'll survive. On this disc, we've got a 4K restoration from the original nitrate negative. We got original mono audio. We got Michael Simon from 1964, Old Ruse award-winning short film portrait of the great French actor. Image gallery. We've got a limited edition exclusive booklet with new essay by Eric Smouden. Archival profiles of the director and writers. And then we've got, this is the first time it's been on Blu-ray in the US. This will be limited to 4,000 copies. I've not seen any of these French sort of thrillers. Is this your sort of genre?
I actually do like these movies. I haven't seen Full House, but they made a ton of them. Like, it's the French who coined the film noir stuff, and they kind of like ripped it off a bit later and did their own thing. And this one I don't know, but the Belmondo ones are really the ones I like more. They just sort of have like, they're very much like a film noir, but very French. I don't know if you can really circle that square, but they're fun. They're good. They're interesting.
Yeah.
Indicator almost always delivers as well. Like, there's another company that's rare that you go, yeah, that wasn't very good or very interesting.
Yeah, I would agree, and not to mention they pretty much always crush it on special features. They are really great on that side. All right, next up, we've got same dates, same territories. Stavisky from 1974. This one looks just as great. Another one that people have been kind of clamoring for quite some time. This is going to have a 4K restoration from the original negative. The Guardian interview with actually that's not new. That's from 1982. Got it. Anyways, all kinds of archival stuff that they found and threw on here. Limited edition exclusive booklet with contemporary production reports by Jonathan Rosenbaum, an analysis of Stephen Sondheim's score, an overview of critical responses and film credits. So nothing new on this disc, which is interesting. Kind of surprised.
I've heard of this movie before. I haven't seen it, but I actually heard it's a very good movie.
I had as well. This is, I think, one of the two that I had heard of in this batch. The last one being this one, La Travestie. Yeah, this is 1988, and again, same dates, same territories, all that fun stuff. Any thoughts on this one? I feel like you've probably seen this one.
I have seen this one. Also, this, this got announced after I had come back from my laser cave, so I have this on LaserDisc. It got released in Japan, which does mean you either need to do a thing where you can sort of turn the Japanese subtitles into English with your Google phone or your phone, or have a wife that speaks French and willing to translate it with you. Luckily, one of those two things works well for me. And we watched this movie during the pandemic. It's good. It's a very good movie.
This one has a visual essay by Alexandra Heller-Nicholas on this, exploring the film's themes of gender and power. And we've got a new booklet on here with a new essay by Georgia Humphreys, excerpts from the film's press kit, and an overview of critical responses. So that visual essay is the only new thing on this one as well. So kind of light on new stuff, but all kinds of archival stuff. Not too bad. And honestly, shout out to Hilton. This is absolutely true. Would be surprised if Kino doesn't release all three of these at some point. Or no, I forgot. This is a U.S. release as well. So, yeah, Indicator's got both. So Kino will likely not put these out ever.
Well, I would suggest anybody's interested. This is, of the three, this is the one that I would say to pick up.
Nice.
If you're only going to get one.
Hey, you may have heard of this film before. Evil Dead 2, coming to Blu-ray in Hungary in May from a brand new boutique distributor called Gehenna Films. They are putting this out, and there's going to be English audio on the disc as well, of course, because it's an English film. But I don't normally cover films unless they're English friendly. The bonus features on this disc are not going to be English friendly unless they are in English already. They are going to have Hungarian subtitles, and those might be burned in. Not sure, though. We've got two different options here. Both of these are digibooks. We've got exclusive artwork by a very famous Hungarian artist on the first one, and then the original Graham Humphreys art on the second one. Now, the hard part here, even though these will be region-free releases, these are only allowed to be sold in a few European countries outside of Hungary, like the Czech Republic, Greece, Slovakia, Romania, Slovenia, or Croatia. But some third-party retailers and some Amazons might pick these up at some point. So if you're like a diehard Evil Dead collector, you might want to keep an eye on this one. However, this might be a little more difficult to pick up at some point. Do we have an Evil Dead 2 Laserdisc?
Well, I mean, again, this is all after I left the laser cave, but when you want to speak of like things that are difficult to pick up, so the Evil Dead Laserdisc, Evil Dead 2, got released by Elite, and if you see this big hype sticker, it says Blood Red Laserdisc. So this was one of the only Laserdiscs that was ever released. Blood red.
Whoa, that's pretty rad.
But you know what's crazy about this is that you have to remember not every Laserdisc player is built the same. And a lot of people had Laserdisc players that were all the way back from like 1978. So they got this thing and they released it and they got endless complaints that it wouldn't play. So then they released it on a standard. I have that one too. But that's the blood red one.
Interesting.
I was going to show that later in an oddity of Laserdisc, but when that announcement came up, I was like, you know what? Why not?
That's super cool. All right, so that was the Evil Dead Hungarian release that got announced. Eureka happened to announce today, which, by the way, the weird timing at the end of the month, which means we're getting Arrow announcements tomorrow. A lot of those have leaked already, but Will does not get to talk about the Arrow announcements next week, so sorry, Will. So Eureka, July 20th, we are getting a Blu-ray in the UK as part of their Masters of Cinema collection of Laurel and Hardy, The Silent Years from 1929. This set contains Liberty, Wrong Again, That's My Wife, Big Business, Unaccustomed as We Are, the silent version, Double Whoopee, Birthmarks, silent version, and Bacon Grabbers and Angora Love, silent version. This is a wild-looking set. Eureka has been doing great stuff on these Laurel and Hardy stuff, and it is a very solid-looking set. This is going to have an O-card with a slipcase featuring new artwork by Scott Saslow, which Scott was just on the show, and I forgot I need to email him as soon as I get off of the show tonight. We got a book of newly written notes on each film by writer and comedian Paul Merton, and a new essay on frequent Laurel and Hardy collaborator James Finlayson by silent cinema expert Chris Grosvenor. I just ruined all of those names, so sorry. We've got 1080 HD presentations on Blu-ray from 2K restorations by Blackhawk Films. We've got scores all over this. We've got new commentaries by a handful of individuals. There's lots of stuff on here. New doc by David Cairns and Fiona Watson. Alternate music scores. Lots of stuff. Laurel and Hardy. I imagine you are likely a fan of Laurel and Hardy.
Oh, yeah. I love them. So do my kids. So Big Business crushes with the kids. It's basically about Laurel and Hardy. They try to sell Christmas trees in the summer, and it does not go well. I've been waiting for them to release the music box. Anybody who has small children and wants to try to get them to watch something classic, it's on YouTube. It looks great on YouTube. The music box is 22 minutes of amazing, just simple comedy. These two guys try to haul a piano up a flight of stairs, and that's basically the whole thing. But my kids love that thing. I showed it to them so many times.
That's awesome. I'm just laughing because a moment ago when I got noticed that my Twitch account it was having trouble streaming there, I just got an email saying my Twitch account has been suspended, and I think it was because of the Visitor Cube cover.
Oops, too much nipple.
Which is hilarious because I'm still up on YouTube.
I have two things I got to try to remember to slightly censor for you when we get later in the day.
Oh, no. Okay.
They're not terrible, but I just realized that after you said the Visitor Q nipple thing, I hadn't thought about it beforehand.
Understandable. All right. Next up is same date. We got July 20th. In the UK, we've got Beast Unleashed. This is from 1955 and 1956. This is from the Eureka Classics line. This is The Beast with a Million Eyes and The Beast of Hollow Mountain, two of the most entertaining films among them, presented together in the spirit of their science fiction double features from the 1950s. This is going to have a limited edition booklet with new writing by the genre film expert Christopher Stewardson. That will be on special effects artist Paul Blaisdell and The Beast with a Million Eyes, and a new essay by film journalist Sean McGeady on weird westerns and The Beast of Hollow Mountain. Reversible sleeve, we've got Terror from Beyond the Stars, new interview with the science fiction expert Mark Bold on The Beast with a Million Eyes, and alien invasion cinema in the 50s. New interview with the critic Kim Newman on The Beast of Hollow Mountain and the resurgence of dinosaur films in the 50s. Any thoughts on this era of film, Brian?
This is something I really don't know much about. Like, I'm always interested in learning more, but these excuse me, the 50s monster movies are, I never watched them when I was young, and I haven't watched many since then. The only ones, I know some of the Ray Harryhausen stuff, but that's like sort of where my knowledge sort of falls apart. Or Godzilla.
Honestly,
I know Godzilla.
Same. Yeah. That's about it for me. I've never dove deep into many of these other ones.
No.
Next up, though, one that I'm kind of excited about. We've got July 20th, a Blu-ray coming in the UK from Eureka, from their Masters of Cinema line of Into the Forest Folktales at DIFA, which might sound sort of familiar to you because Brian held up earlier the Deaf Crocodile release of DIFA Fairy Tales that we just put out through Deaf Crocodile. That has 5 films in there, but there's only a couple that are going to be crossing over, or maybe it's 3. I think it's 3. That are crossing over, or no, it's only 2 that are crossing over in this Eureka set. And so there's kind of a lot of reason to pick up both if you're into this era and folk tales and all this fun stuff, because I hope Craig is okay with me saying, because I believe he's already said it on the podcast, there's not, as far as I'm aware, a plan to do any of these other ones by Deaf Crocodile anytime soon. And just for the record, Eureka and Deaf Crocodile did not plan this together. Deaf Crocodile didn't know that Eureka was doing this until they announced it. It was not worked on at the same time. So this Eureka set is going to have The Devil from Mill Mountain, The Singing Ringing Tree, Little Red Riding Hood, Rumpelstiltskin, and The Devil's 3 Golden Hairs. This is going to be a limited box set. It is going to be limited to 2,000 copies. Limited 60-page book with a new essay by Sebastian Heidechek. New notes on each film in the set by Sonia Fricha, Keena Shen, and Elizabeth Ward, plus the Brothers Grimm stories that inspired The Singing Ringing Tree, Rumpelstiltskin, Little Red Riding Hood, and The Devil's 3 Golden Hairs. All 5 films that will be from DIFA Restorations. We've got the original German soundtracks, optional English soundtracks for The Singing Ringing Tree and The Devil's 3 Golden Hairs. We've got optional English subtitles, brand new translations on those. New commentary on The Devil from Mill Mountain by Michael Brook. New commentary on Rumpelstiltskin by Sam Goff. Fairy Tales and Nightmares, new interview with Bob Fisher. We've got DIFA and the Devil, new visual essay on the depiction of the devil and folk tales from the Brothers Grimm to DIFA by Mary Going. The Magic Scissors, a short silhouette animation. We've got Sleeping Beauty Was a Beautiful Child, another short that was a puppet animation. And then we've got The Wolf of the Seven Little Goats from 1990, and that is a short cutout animation. This sounds really cool.
100%. This is like, you know, the DIFA stuff is one of those things that I had heard about a lot, mostly just like in random film books, but like everything was more or less inaccessible. And I think there was a big DVD set that was released maybe like, I don't know, like 15 years ago, maybe more.
At least, probably more.
Maybe more. And I had seen a couple of them, but the ones I had seen were more like Policy Atechi, but like the German version. I think there's a name for them.
The Crimmies.
Yeah, Crimmies. I had seen a couple Crimmies. They were good. I liked them. But I'm really looking forward. I'm kind of amassing a bunch of DIFA movies, and I want to try to do it all as like a big sit down, go through, and there's got to be a book or something about this too that you could like watch along with. But
yeah.
I don't know it. I don't have it, but I'm sure it exists somewhere.
That's awesome. Yeah, I agree. DIFA's done a lot of stuff. First off, tons of movies.
Yeah,
so many movies.
Ton. They were releasing it for a captive audience. It's just like Hong Kong was making a ton of movies. Well, that's just a little different, but they have their own. I guess Quebec. Like Quebec makes all these movies because they're making them for themselves, so they know they have a built-in audience and they're all going. So you can make a movie for $600,000 and make money because you know you're going to get that many people to go see it.
I don't know if it's coming through my sound, but I did want to say we are in the middle of a giant hailstorm outside. So if that got good, that makes for a good microphone then.
Also, I'm a sound mixer. I can't hear anything.
That was it for this week. I do have a few things that I did not get to post, so I'll be sharing those over the next 24 hours. But coming out next week, in case you forgot, incredible 4K release of Inner Space from Arrow. We got Moneyball 4K coming from the studio on that one. All of the Vinegar Syndrome stuff is going to be shipping, of course. Soldier 4K with Kurt Russell from Arrow. We've got Throw Mama from the Train 4K from Kino. The John Singleton Hood Trilogy 4K from Criterion. Private Benjamin finally on Blu-ray from Warner Archive. Something's Got to Give coming to Blu-ray. We've got The Grapes of Death 4K from Indicator. The Living Dead Girl 4K from Indicator. Conquest 4K from Cauldron finally shipping. Tiger on the Beat 1 and 2 4K from Shout. Dust Bunny 4K from Lionsgate. Captain's Courageous from Warner Archive. We've got Stardust 4K getting re-released. Set from Severin is shipping. Abbott and Costello Hold That Ghost 4K from Kino. The Severin. We've got Highest to Lowest from A24 coming out next week on 4K. Aerosmith from Warner Archive. George Stevens, A Filmmaker's Journey. The newest 4K from Warner Archive is coming out next week. King Richard and the Crusaders from Warner Archive. Voices from Beyond 4K, the Fulci film coming from Severin. We've got 20,000 Years in Sing Sing from Warner Archive. Crack Up from Warner Archive. We've got Cold Storage 4K coming from Goldwyn Mayer next week. The Man Who Reclaimed His Head from Kino. That Adventure Calls Carl May at CCC from Eureka. Jack the Ripper 4K from Cauldron, which I will very cautiously optimistically recommend as a wonderful entry into Jess Franco. Also some self-promotion since Will and I are on the commentary on that one. Check it out. So Young, So Lovely, So Vicious from Raro Video. We've got Nightlife from Kino Lorber. Patchwork 4K shipping from TerraVision this week, which heads up that they did put out another update today that Gatorbait should be very soon. Their last couple of box sets that they were waiting on is all about to be shipping in the next, I think one should be ready next week, one the following week, and then hopefully Gatorbait the week after that, which it's finally time. Only a year after it was announced, which is wild. We got Student Confidential shipping from Severin. The Nashville Standard Edition from Paramount is shipping as well. That Monogram Matinee Volume 2 from Warner Archive is shipping. There's some nipples I need to hide. Creep Tapes Season 2 from Shudder. Let's see. North Sea is Death Sea from Severin. Hunters of the Golden Cobra from Severin. That is the bulk of it, though. What are you after next week? Is Inner Space a movie near and dear to your heart?
I like Inner Space. I think I pre-ordered it from Amazon. From Arrow, but I don't exactly remember. I have the Laserdisc. That's why I saw it last. I also really like Private Benjamin. I don't know if other than the Vinegar Syndrome stuff, I don't think there's a ton on there that I was like crazy after. But there's a lot of interesting things that. Again, I just sort of have to. I'm managing my spending a little bit better these days.
Understandable. Silent Mandible wants to know when is the last group of Vinegar Syndrome drop shipping. I got mine, so now
I don't think I even got mine. Although I don't know if that's indicative of anything.
I got mine 2 or 3 days ago, I think.
Oh yeah, I only pick up my mail once a week, so.
Understandable. All right, so now deep dive into Laserdiscs. We're going to talk about all kinds of stuff, including erotic thrillers. We're going to talk about some of the rare ones. Where do you want to start? You want to start why Laserdiscs were important or why they were sought after?
Sure. I mean, Is there any? Did you call any like questions that people want before I get like going, or is it all random?
No, let's
Okay.
dive into that for well, and maybe first of all, just what is a laser disc for those that have never actually held one?
Yeah, that's great. So a laser disc is the same size as a record, so it's 12 inches, and it's the same technology behind it is what's on a CD. So it's etched a small piece of metal smashed between two platters. But the great thing to me about a laser disc, more than anything else, is it's the last analog format. So while it's read by a laser, it's the last video analog format that existed. It's 480i. But you can actually blow it up pretty good to 4K. I mean, within reason. It doesn't look like a 4K, but I've used a lot of fancy players and scalers, and I make it look decent. But the sound, after a certain period of time, becomes digital. So it's CD quality sound with an analog video, and it makes it for a very like specific feel. It's not really it doesn't look at all like a VHS, which I think looked like crap. I don't actually quite understand the VHS thing. I mean, if it's the only way you can see a movie, great, but VHS is 240i, so this is double the resolution of that. And they were made for a really long time. The first one was Jaws, made in 1978, and the last one, at least the last English one, was The Cell, released in Japan, made in 2001. So that's an incredible span and an incredible breadth of cinema that entered and exited through Laserdisc.
Really, really interesting time, and there's a lot of these things that Laserdiscs are the only place to get not just films but special features. Obviously, this is the first time that we were able to get audio commentaries for Criterion. Lots of stuff that we can dive in on that. What next? What is the best way that you want to tell the Laserdisc story?
Yeah, I mean, I think if you want to like talk about the format and like what makes it special, I think the thing to think about is going back to that breadth and scope. So from 78 to 2001 is an incredible amount of time. I mean,
Yeah.
it's what, 23 years. And as far as what gets released on Laserdisc, it's pretty incredible. So the early stuff, the very, very early stuff, people collect that. To me, it's not super interesting, but you start around 1982, and in the US, it really ends in 2000, and you get like anything and everything. I mean, they release silent movies, documentaries, they release action movies, they release classic movies, they release comedies, they release tons of stuff. And eventually we'll get into what they kind of only released on Laserdisc, which is not only, but the best quality of it is on Laserdisc, which is erotic thrillers, and why that is true. But from there, you know, in the 80s, it sort of starts out, and it's just like, you know, Laserdisc is competing with Beta, which is competing with VHS, and Beta loses because they won't do porn, and VHS is like, porn me up, bro. And then Laserdisc sort of sees this and was like, this porn idea, and so they start to do porn movies as well. So you know, they keep along that, and you know, you can track porn through Laserdisc almost up to the end. But whatever, that's a whole nother side topic. But you know, so they have this niche market, and it's people that want really the highest quality possible, and they want and the breadth of movies possible. So as you know, Beta loses, and everybody's like, VHS looks like crap. People are like, oh yeah, but I have like this high quality system. I want to be able to make something that looks nice. They get a Laserdisc player, and lasers are expensive when they first come out. Like, you know, the Criterion edition of what you're saying, King Kong with the first commentary, it's like $100, $100 of $1980, which is like what, $250.
That's a
So
lot, yeah.
if you're talking about like, oh man, $26 is expensive for a Deaf Crocodile release, like $250 for King Kong is crazy pants. But you know, they're the collector's market and they're niche here. But along with all of that, there's a kind of a crazy thing that happens is that as the mid 80s progresses into the late 80s, into the 90s, the Asian economic miracle happens, and Japan, Hong Kong, they boom. Money is just coming in like crazy. And in Japan, they love karaoke. And what's a great way to do karaoke? Laserdisc. Now they have a Laserdisc player, and turns out what else do they like? Movies. So they are selling movies hand over fist. Like, I can't get pressing numbers on everything, but I know the minimum pressing on a lasers has to be 500.
Yeah.
And I think most things get pressed to about 1,000. In Japan, there are like 20,000 copies of Showgirls on Laserdisc. Like, it's just massive, 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 massive. And the breadth of movies that they're releasing in Japan is just astounding. They're releasing French films, Japanese films, American films, and you can just find all this other stuff. And now, when you get back to the States, you know, along with your Hollywood movies and whatever, Laserdiscs are also kind of entering a niche video store realm. And what niche video stores want is porn. And along with porn is like things that aren't quite porn. So it's the erotic thriller. So erotic thrillers start getting released like crazy on Laserdisc. And, you know, we can talk a little bit, we'll talk a little bit more about erotic thrillers in general. But what's interesting to me about them is they're basically the 90s version of a film noir. They roughly hue them. They would start like with Fatal Attraction and end with Showgirls. That's like the Hollywood aspect of them. The DTV direct-to-video ones really start with like Night Eyes, which is in 1990. And it ends, you know, I mean, it doesn't really end for a long time. It doesn't end till like the the early 2000s. But those are really junky. It kind of dies around the same time Showgirls dies. It really dies when the internet comes in. It dies 98, 99. But they make 500 of them, just like they make 500 film noirs. And their plots are very similar to a film noir, except it's twisted. So in a film noir, you'll have a man that's undone by like one of his actions or an action of a femme fatale. Here, it's really all about the woman and what she wants and how her life gets upended by her like search for fulfillment. And there are a lot of interesting things that are written about it. In fact, there's only 3 books. I could show them if you really want, but there's only 3 books written about erotic thrillers. All 3 of them are interesting. And they sort of, the best one, Ruth Williams, she makes the sort of the point that erotic thrillers are a lot like musicals, like MGM musicals. They have like these overall structures that then get interrupted by dance numbers, except these dance numbers are sex scenes. So you have this structure of like a woman searching for fulfillment, and then it gets interrupted as she, you know, has sex with a bunch of people. So that's what I like about that. And in Laserdisc in general, you can just find all kinds of stuff. Like when I would go around and just buy whatever came up, you would never know like what some of these things are. And it's just like, meh. Yeah.
It's an interesting period, and there are lots of these movies that now can literally only be got on later.
Yeah. So how you make a Laserdisc? So a Laserdisc needs. So if all these erotic thrillers are shot in film, so they're shot on film, but it's this era where they're editing on tape, and the way that they edit it on tape, and I'm not 100% perfect on the exact technical thing, is they're more or less like striping it with time code, they're cutting it linearly, and then they sort of do a conform. They don't cut the negative, but they do a conform to the negative, and they do that conform, and then they bring it on into a version of a telecine. The telecine turns it into a positive, and then they put it on a tape. And the tape they put it on is called a D2 master tape. And the quality of a D2 master tape is, you know, basically the same as a Laserdisc. So if you get something that's struck from a D2 master tape of an erotic thriller and you get it on Laserdisc, that's basically the same. And then when they released it on DVD, you're like, oh, well, that's 480p or whatever. But it's not. It's basically the exact same, and it's just compressed. And the DVD compression is not that great. So it's really, if you have a nice quality of the Laserdisc, it's never really going to look any better. And I'm not positive, but my deeply held belief is all of these negatives are in the trash. They're all gone. Because what would happen is that company that did the video editing, you know, offline video editing, they would store the negatives at a lab. And that company has gone out of business. That lab has gone out of business. And if you didn't come and claim your negatives, they all went in the dumpster.
Straight the trash.
So they're all gone. I mean, you might find 1 or 2 here or there, and there are a couple that got a release. There's one, I'll get to eventually, that I know got a release in a few places, which means they cut the negative. So if they cut the negative, that means there's a print somewhere. And if there's a print somewhere, you could maybe make a Blu-ray out of it. But these are basically all gone. This is just all forgotten media.
Well, not only films, not only special features. There's also a lot of laser discs with cuts that are exclusive to the Laserdisc release that are not on other releases. And you've actually been kind of solicited from some of these boutique labels to supply some Laserdiscs to be used for some of their releases.
Yeah.
Share some of what you've been able to help provide to people, what you've been solicited for, stuff like that.
Yeah. Let me grab those out because we're gonna go out of. That's good. Give me one. Oops. So yeah, I have provided releases. Oops. Oh, no, that wasn't ordered. You did have my proper order. I just didn't remember. So I have like made scans for a handful of people. And one time this guy who really wouldn't identify himself came over and was like, I want a scan of this New York Chinatown. And he only knew that I had it because I'm the only one in the world that has it. And he was like, oh, I need this scan for a Blu-ray I'm doing. I can't tell you what it's for or anything. I was like, whatever, I don't care. So I made a scan for him. And then that eventually got released and cut in to this Vinegar Syndrome release of these Hong Kong Volume 2, this New York Chinatown. So that's my Laserdisc whenever they talk about the Laserdisc they're printing for it. And then for you and the TerraVision folks, I scanned Gatorbait 2. I ripped Gatorbait 2, which is actually a rough movie, but quite fun. And I can't believe you guys found a negative for it. I'm pretty excited to see that. I'm not going to lie, because it is a dirty movie, but it is a hilarious movie.
I still can't believe that we got the German VHS that's longer than anything else than any of us have ever seen, which is wild. And the footage is not like, it's not great additional footage, but the fact that we have it is just truly incredible.
Yeah, that's the whole idea, is you kind of archive the whole release of these things.
Yep.
And as far as like things that don't exist anywhere else, here, I have a few cool things. So this I just like a lot. I mean, I've seen it a couple times. It's called Hollywood, a celebration of the American silent film. And you're like, oh, whatever, this big box set of early silent film documentary. That can't be that interesting. Well, this was an early made for HBO documentary. And all these images and all the films, they don't have the rights for anywhere else. So you can find this on YouTube, but this is the only, there's a VHS, but this and the VHS is the only release that'll ever be as a physical media. And this basically chronicles from the birth of cinema all the way to where sound comes in. And it's crazy. It's beautiful. It's like Kevin Brownlow did it. And I think it's like 12 hours. It's really long. So
12 hours. Damn.
So that's pretty cool. And then some things more people might know. So Dumb and Dumber, the only way to see the original version in widescreen is on this Laserdisc. Because for whatever reason, they only release this, not even director's cut, it's like the TV cut. And they release it all the time. And I don't really know why. Because the original one is so much better. And if you look at what they do in the TV cut / director cut is they make them so much meaner. And by the end, you don't really like them as much. It's not so much fun. And then a little more esoteric, but maybe not too crazy. The Wizard of Speed and Time is kind of this crazy kind of cult movie. And that's the US Laserdisc, and that's pretty cool. But what's really crazy is the Japanese one is about 9 minutes longer. And this is the only way to see this.
Jeez.
And this
It's
goes
better
for
cover too.
Yeah, and this goes for a stupid amount of money.
Well, is it time to talk about that for what most modern sales for Laserdisc go for, and like what the rare ones get and stuff like that?
What do rare ones get? So, if you're talking about like a normal Laserdisc these days, you sell them for like $5, maybe less,
Literally.
like $3. Like if you want to watch like Jade on Laserdisc, is like $5. Something like the Wizard of Speed and Time on that Japanese one is like $300 at least.
Jeez.
And then if you want to talk about something really crazy, I'll drop a few. I didn't bring the big one. I'll tell you a few more. So like something like somebody mentioned The Matrix. So I don't care about unopened media, and I especially don't care about open Laserdisc, with the exception of super popular movies that are unopened. are starting to fetch crazy prices. So the Matrix, I sold an unopened copy that I bought for $3 almost instantly locally for $600 cash, and I probably undersold it. I'm pretty sure if I had it today, I could sell it for 900.
What
And
in the world?
it's because people are starting to grade them like comic books and put them in slabs, but
Oh,
only super popular movies that are unopened. I had an unopened Fight Club, which is a rare Japanese one that I sold for like $350, and I'm pretty sure the same guy put it on eBay for $7, and I don't know if it's still there, but he'll probably sell it. So that's that, and then the really, really, really late stuff like Arnold's The Sixth Day, or The Cell, which are the stuff that's released right at the end, are like multiple thousands of dollars a piece. And if you can find one, and you're not gonna. Here's the thing: you're not gonna find it. So it doesn't matter that it's worth a lot of money. You're just not gonna come across it. I'm pretty sure that they just didn't sell many of them, and then the stores returned them, and they went in the dump. Because something like The Cell, I think the known copies are like 34 of them. So that's probably like about how many sold.
jeez, that is just insanity.
And then, what Dice K? That's the guy. That's the guy who likes Criterion, right?
Yep.
So, I was during the pandemic, I was like streaming Dice K's videos in the background. What a soothing, lovely gentleman he seems to be. And at one point, he was like, "Oh, this, and this," and then it's like, "This was the hardest thing to get in my collection, and it's this. It's the Prince of Tides." And you're like, "Prince of Tides? Why is this the hardest thing to get in your collection?" Well, it's because it's the Prince of Tides 159. And the Prince of Tides 159, Criterion printed them, had them all ready to go, and then Barbara Streisand pulled them. Either because she didn't like the essay, because when it got re-released, it's a different essay, or something she said on the commentary, she didn't like the way it got edited together. And I'm not 100% sure why, but this one has a slightly different commentary and a slightly different essay on the back and a slightly different cover.
Interesting.
And they were never officially released. So you'd have to get them from, basically the story goes is about 100 of them slipped out because the Criterion gave them away at their Christmas party. And then a few days later, she decided she didn't want to release it, and she pulled them all.
Jeez.
So that one was a little harder to track down.
Yikes. Eddie
Yeah,
wants to
continue.
know if you ever got to HD Laserdisc Muse. Do you know what that is?
I do. So Muse is a format that's 1035i. It was only released in Japan. You need a special decoder in order to get it. They released about 50 movies, and they also released about 50 background videos of fish. So you can watch fish in glorious HD. I have like 7 of them. For a while, you could pick them up at semi-reasonable prices, but they're pretty crazy. I do have Back to the Future, which is pretty cool. And I sold a couple of them. I'll be honest, it's a lot of work to get it to come out, and it's cool-ish, I would say. Oh, I have Close Encounters and I have
Cool-ish.
ET. It's just a lot of work to get it to come out. I think if
Yeah.
you like really dedicate yourself to like that's the thing you want to do, that's fine. But also because of the way the format is, the subtitles are always in the picture, even if it's like 235. So I just sort of, it just got expensive and I fell out of it. For me, it's more niche than I even am. But it's
Which
a
is
great
pretty
question.
niche.
Yeah, it's pretty niche.
So 17,000 laser discs. There are many that you and I have talked about that you are literally like the only known owner of a film on a laser disc. Tell us about some of those.
The only known owner ones. Okay, well, I know I brought one more that I know. So I was going to talk about this a little bit more in the erotic thriller time, but I do it now. So there was a DVD release somewhat recently by the Cinemax thing of Ultimate Taboo. And then people were complaining like, "Oh, what is this Ultimate Taboo? It's like, it's all cut and it's all weird. There's no ultimate whatever." Well, this is an Indonesian laser disc, and it is longer by about 6 minutes than the DVD release, because this is not the Cinemax cut. This is like the original cut that they again pre-sold to foreign markets. And actually, this movie is pretty interesting. It's directed by Paul Thomas, not Paul Thomas Anderson, but Paul Thomas. He was a porn actor and director, but he also made a bunch of softcore movies. But what's more interesting is it's written by Penny Ante, who's like sort of a feminist writer critic, and really weirdly, it stars Kim Dawson's in it, but also the woman who's in. Now I'm blanking, of course. The one who does a workout video. TerraVision did it.
Yep, Linnea Quigley.
I think that's it. I believe it. Now I'm gonna make sure. But the other woman who's in it basically plays her job in the movie for absolutely no reason is a clown for children's birthday parties. So every now and then she comes back from work or she's going to work and she's dressed up as a clown. Why? I don't know. But it's actually it's quite decent for what it is. I like that one. I gave it a pretty high reading. And that's the only one of those that exists as far as known. Same thing with the Hong Kong Chinatown.
I'm sure you got this one. Eddie wants to know if you got Dragon's Lair.
Dragon's Lair. You mean those are the games, right?
The thing.
So Laserdisc also made games. So they made like early computer video games.
Yeah.
I have gotten them and I have sold them all because I don't really play any video games, and anytime I get a video game one, it just goes right out. So I have gotten it twice actually, and I have sold it both times.
I feel like I want to track down a copy just to have for the Don Bluth collection.
Is there he animate something over that?
He did, yeah. He did most of the. In fact, I think he did like all of the animation, or his studio did something like that.
Yeah. So yeah, they exist. They're really expensive now.
Of course.
Some of those games sell for about $1,000.
Jesus Christ! Never mind.
Yeah.
I don't need to find it.
I think the Dragon Slayer one goes like more like 200s ish. I don't know, but I haven't sold them in a long time.
All right, not as bad, but still bad. Okay, erotic thrillers. Why is the Laserdisc era so important? And tell us about it, because gosh, this we have talked about erotic thrillers on Laserdiscs for countless hours together.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm gonna skip some stuff. I had a whole thing, but I'm going too long. So let me get going. Okay. So like erotic thrillers for the DTV market, they really started in 1990 with Night Eyes. And Night Eyes is directed by Jag Mundra, who you might recognize from Hack-A-Lantern. And he comes up with this movie, and what's important is it has Andrew Stevens and Tanya Roberts, who was in that 70s show, I think, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is the first one. This thing is made for like $1 million and makes like $30 million. Never gets a theatrical release. It just makes $30 million selling VHSs, Laserdisc, rentals, pay-per-views. Yeah. And so it sort of starts a rush. And then like a year later, after that made so much, I think it's a year and a half later, they basically make the exact same movie. Call it Night Eyes 2, but now we have Shannon Tweed. And I mean, Shannon Tweed is in a few movies before this, but now we have Shannon Tweed doing this. And then if that's not good enough, they'll just make it again, Night Eyes 3. And now it's Tweed and her sister. Her sister plays the other one, Tracy Tweed. And Andrew Stevens starts directing these. So now Andrew Stevens directs this. And then a few years later, try one last time, we have Night Eyes 4. I only have the Singapore release, which is slightly cut, but whatever. And they do it one more time. And if you think, oh, this Andrew Stevens guy, he is like a B actor. He becomes a bit of a B director and a producer, but then he gets involved in, I'm going to say his name wrong, something Gallery or whatever. But he ends up working with this company that sort of makes vanity projects in Hollywood, like The Whole Nine Yards. Do you remember that? That's basically a Hollywood vanity project that he helped produce. And his mom was a famous B actress as well. So she's around for a long time. So anyways, he's sort of a peripheral Hollywood player. And he wrote a book about the business of making movies. And he still like gives lectures about making money in Hollywood and all this stuff. But he's one of those guys that really cashed in on the whole thing. And he's fine. He's an okay actor. But I would say if you're gonna get started, Night Eyes is a pretty good way to get started. It's basically like it's super simple. It has all the tropes, but like Andrew Stevens runs a company that does security systems. He sets one up for a rich guy. The rich guy has a hot wife, and then he ends up sleeping with the hot wife. And it's the same movie every single time.
As one does, yeah.
As one does. But there's a lot of interesting things that are happening within it. But it's the same movie. And then of course you have Shannon Tweed, who does a whole ton of these. And this one I really like a lot, called Scorned. And Scorned, basically Shannon Tweed's husband commits suicide because his boss is a jerk. So she becomes like the nanny for that family, and very hand that rocks the cradle style. At first she seduces them and then tries to kill them all. So if you liked Hand that rocked the cradle but you really wanted more sex, boom, Scorned.
Never mind.
Yeah, Hand that rocked. Wait. And then if you thought it was good the first time, don't worry, they made it again. Scorned 2. Except this time it's a professor and as a student. But it's basically the same movie. And they're both actually quite good. Another weird Laserdisc only thing is this movie, Crush. So the Crush is Alicia Silverstone and Carrie Elways. And the thing that makes this only available on Laserdisc is it says, from the moment the 14-year-old Darian met Nick. Well, in the movie, they say her name all the time. It's Darian. Yep. Well, she was quite upset about this, and she sued them and said, you don't have the rights to use my name in this because it's based on a true story, and she won. So every release after this Laserdisc, her name is Adrian. And all they did is dub over Darian with Adrian. And it doesn't really change the movie, does it? But it's kind of interesting.
Interesting.
And then if you really want to get into the erotic thriller, there's really only one person to look at. Like I say, you watch a little Tweed, you watch Night Eyes, and then almost nothing else matters. You just watch Gregory Dark, because what Gregory Dark does fucking rocks. Like he is the Kubrick of these, and to an extent that is so impressive, and you like can't even imagine it. So he was bumming around LA. He like shoots some music videos here and there. He gets a job editing a sort of a documentary about porn, and he's like, what is this? I could do better. And he makes a few movies here, he makes a few movies there. He's getting better. His early ones are okay. And then he comes across and he makes Secret Games. And Secret Games is Jade. It's Jade, except the woman is really enjoying it. So basically, like, this woman, she's a bored housewife, and she decides to become a high-class call girl. And then all this stuff or whatever ensues. What's also kind of amazing is her husband is Billy Drago, if you like a little B-movie reference. He is very much a dick in this movie. But that movie's great. And what Great Dark does so much better than everybody else is he really leans in to the erotic part of the erotic thriller without just making it like Paul Thomas about the sex scenes.
Right.
So he takes these plots that are like very film noir-y or very much like a Hollywood movie, and then he really ups the sex and he films it in a way that is like at least heteronormatively like visually pleasurable. Like it's meant to look good. It's not meant to be fumbling, or it's not meant to be dirty. Right. Or like Henry and June, when like, you know, they go to the bordello and you just sort of like, this does not work. You know, none of his themes are sort of like that. They lean in and they go for it. And then of course, after he makes the first one, got to do it again, except this time you switch it. And now instead of the woman, it's the man who's an artist. And he has to go investigate a bordello to see what it would be like. And then just because, you know, it worked the first time, let's just remake the first one and call it 3. So this is a kind of a trope within all of it. And then after that, he makes a pair of really good ones. Mirror Images is great. It's really great. It's basically like, you know, these two sisters, they're twins. One's like frigid and one's sort of wild. And then one's married to a senator, I think, and the other is just sort of like, she's like a rock star. And then they get into all sorts of shenanigans. But it's actually played by 2 different people in this original one. Julie Strain is in it. And then, of course, that word worked so well, they remade it again. But this time, and this is where he really nails it, he remakes it with my absolute favorite erotic thriller actor, Shannon Worry. She she's like brings everything that he does to the nth degree.
Nice.
So while a lot of the other actresses, like, they might have been nude models or penthouse playmates or somewhat actors or whatever, they never could really act. They were like decent, but they're like a little stilted, kind of like I think Shannon Tweed's a little stilted. Shannon Worry came from off-Broadway, classically trained background. She's in like some bad Seagal movie or a couple other things bumming around, and then ends up in his movies. And she is great. Like, she's so great. I don't really do this often, but I ordered an autograph of her. She's also in Me, Myself, and Irene.
Nice.
And I got her an autograph of her just because I think she's awesome. And she really brings it to the nth degree. And then this all is really taken to the best. So if you're into these erotic thrillers and you're enjoying it and you're like, oh, this Gregory Darko guy is cool and this Shannon Worry is interesting, this is the movie to see. It's called Animal Instincts. And Animal Instincts puts it all together in the perfect movie. You got this woman whose husband is a cop and she's bored and he's like only so interested in her, and they decide to like place a personal ad for men or people to come over and have sex with her while he watches on a closed circuit camera. And he really gets off on this, and then the relationship blossoms and they love each other even more. But then some other people, nefarious people, find out about the whole scheme, and will it bring him down or will it won't? But this movie, great. It's like this is another one that's like a real 5-star movie for me. And one of the crazy things about why this is a 5-star movie is not only was it directed by Greg Darko, it was shot by Wally Pfister, who went on to shoot most of Nolan's movies until they had a falling out. So this is where Wally Pfister got his start. Is he got to start making these erotic thrillers. And Animal Instincts was cut. So like the negative was cut. It was released in Germany and Japan on screens. So, and then they remake it again, of course, and they remake it again, and this time she's on her own, and it's basically the same movie, but it's almost just as good. And then they make it a third time, but no Shannon Worry. And this is at the end of Greg Darko's erotic thriller career, and this is an angry movie about like how all of his life has been a waste, and there's like a blind man who can actually see, and how this whole thing is a farce. It's basically like Greg Darko yelling at everybody saying like, you all a bunch of posers, I don't like you, why do you even buy my movies, and they're gonna make these again. Yeah, and that's the end of his erotic thrillers. So that, I mean, I have more things that I could share, but that's like a decent start, and feel free to interrupt and go from there.
Well, the other thing I said we were going to talk about later is something that you helped me with, actually, is players. For anybody interested in LaserDiscs in this 2026, what do we do about players? Because obviously we're not manufacturing brand new players every day.
Yeah, there's no more players. The last actually players were made in around 2009 because they were combo players for a little while, and Pioneer serviced them for a little after that. But yeah, getting players nowadays is tricky. So certain parts of the players are easy to fix. There's a bunch of rubber bands in them that you can replace. There's some things called a grip ring that you can replace. The laser, if it dies, is pretty much dead. And then there are some of the gears that you can grease up and get back to working. You know, it's mostly a mechanical mechanism, and then it's the laser. So, you know, people can fix them. Honestly, most of the time the lasers don't die. So you can get them fixed. Now, if you live in a big city like New York or LA or Chicago, you can usually find them within driving distance on Facebook Marketplace or Craigslist. You know, really, for what a starter is going to do, any LaserDisc player that works is great. The funny thing is, you go up and up and up in LaserDisc players, it gets incredibly expensive. And what you're looking for is your signal to noise ratio, because you remember you have an analog format, so you're not using any digital outs. And the low end players, the signal to noise ratio will be something like 57, 58 dB. And what that really means is how much signal you're going to get before your blacks become a mess. And 57, 58 is like pretty low. It's about as low as it gets. Most of them are in the 60s. And then when you get to the upper end ones, like when the guy was talking about the Muse players, which is all that I use because I'm crazy, you have to get those from Japan. You have to be really careful how they come in, and then you have to, you have to get them worked on and tweaked, and then you might get about 74, 75 dB signal to noise ratio. And when you do that, and you put it through a nice scaler, and you put it through a nice projector, you get a decent image.
It's not terrible.
No.
So can't find them really, especially not brand new.
I mean, you can, you're not brand new, but you can get them places. But when you buy them on eBay, for the most part, people stick it in a box and they send it to you, and they always come broken. It's really, really, really hard to ship a Laserdisc player. If you're gonna ship a Laserdisc player you buy on eBay, you gotta tell them, I need you to put it in a box, and I need you to put a bunch of foamies in a box. Put it in that box. Put more foamies in that box. Make it super tight. Then take that box, wrap it in bubble wrap. Put a bunch of foamies in another box. Put that box in a box, and then send it to me. And that's really the only way they'll survive.
And if somebody is going after one, what is the expected price to pay in 2026 for an entry-level Laserdisc player?
I think more or less the cheapest ones you're going to get that work are about $150. I think if you want something like that's a little more medium, I would expect to pay about $250. You don't actually need an S video out. The best thing to do is to use the yellow, the composite out, and then put it through anything else, your modern system. Because again, you have an analog format, and a composite is going to send out two things: luminance and chrominance, the Y and C. And so you need a comb filter that separates out that Y and C. S video does it in the player, but the player is 35 years old. Anything that you have now is going to have a better comb filter than that 35-year-old player. And if you get some really fancy things, and actually if you get a receiver from around 2010, 2011, those are the best comb filters around, and you can get those really, really cheap, which is actually what I use for most of my stuff.
And you buy and sell Laserdiscs quite a lot.
So the sell is like a little bit nebulous, because what I really do is I just drop them off in Kansas near you, and my brother takes care of all of it. But yeah, I mean, I do privately sell here and there, but I haven't privately sold much in years. Most of my really high value stuff is gone that I have doubles of. So he's just like selling the chum. He did sell a Friday the 13th 3 this last week for like $130. So that was not bad. But yeah.
We talked a couple of the exclusives earlier. What are some of the more well-known things that are stuck on Laserdisc? I know the one that I was going to bring up is the original Scream. The only way to see that uncut is still on Laserdisc.
Yeah, Scream's on Laserdisc. I mean, and more, I don't actually quite know what's like Laserdisc exclusive as far as like features and whatnot. I mean, there's a lot of commentaries that didn't get ported over for various reasons.
Yep.
Like I think even like I was saying The Sixth Day, but there's also The Sixth Man, which I think is like a basketball comedy.
Yeah.
Sorry. And it had an exclusive commentary.
Interesting. Robert wants to know on in regards to shipping, how many discs do you have that get destroyed due to poor shipping?
I've had a few. I did have Troma's Mother get destroyed in shipping, and it took me about 6 years to find another copy.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. And it was like 10 times the price. It happens sometimes. Honestly, it doesn't happen a ton since I stopped getting mail to my house. The UPS people that hold it for me are lovely, and they're my friends, and they seem to keep it very nice. So I go there.
Nice. Any more? Patty Boy, I think somebody else had asked about this. The 007 canceled audio commentary Laserdisc.
Yeah, I have all those. Those are all in the Criterion. So if you're looking for the 3 007 commentaries, they released the Laserdisc twice. It's like, I don't remember the exact numbers. 69, 70, and 71 are the spine numbers. And then they also released them with an A. So it's like 69A, 70A, 71A. All the A's have no commentary. All the non-A's are gatefold, and they do have the commentaries.
Interesting. And then Roger Rabbit, Who Framed Roger Rabbit, the original naughty animated version is there.
Yeah, so I have that, but I also have the best of Roger Rabbit animations. These are the 3
Nice.
original shorts. I think maybe these have come out eventually, but for the longest time, these were the only ways to see these.
That's super cool.
And then if you want another really, really inappropriate animation, just because I know you love animation, this is incredibly hard to find.
Oh, damn.
I won't say what they call. I won't say what they call it in on the DVD. There is a DVD they released, but they don't use this title. They use a slightly different one. But this is a very weird movie, and this is the only one I've actually come across of it.
Bakshi Street Fight. That and the cover art is great. That is incredible.
Yeah, that's very cool. There's also a ton. If people like the other fun thing that you can find semi-exclusive to Laserdisc is B action movies. So, I really like this movie. I watched it. So this is only released in Indonesia. It's called Super Fights, but it's made in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. But it's by a Hong Kong director. He had just come over. He didn't even speak any English, and it's basically about this guy who wants to be an MMA fighter. They don't really quite call it then, and he's got to like take on all these other super fighters and this like terrible guy that just tries to drug them all up. But it was actually
so it's just a documentary.
It's a documentary. It was mixed by a colleague of mine. So I was watching the credits, and I was like, "Holy shit, I know this guy!" So I called him up, and I was like, "Hey, I can't believe you mixed like the best movie ever, Super Fights." And he's like, "Don't talk to me about that." And he's like, "It was a bad time of my life. I don't want to discuss it." So, oops. But fair enough. I mean, he's a much more famous than I am. He's a very famous sound mixer. So he doesn't really want to talk about Super Fights.
Nice. All right. Any other Laserdisc questions from the chat?
Yeah.
I can't think of much else.
I'll drop like 2 more things and I'll let you go. So Troma also released a ton of stuff on Laserdisc.
Yes, they did.
So this is Troma's War. Their covers are awesome on Laserdisc.
This is one I would not be surprised at all if this was a Vinegar Syndrome 4K eventually.
I hope so. This is a fun movie.
Yeah.
So that's a very cool one. And then people like to talk about like going complete on an actor or an actress, but the only way to go complete on Pamela Anderson is with Naked Souls from an Indonesian Laserdisc.
Oh my gosh.
And then if you really want to go deep and crazy for somebody people might know, some of these have come out recently, but our good friend Cynthia Rothrock had a bunch of random Hong Kong ones. So this is Prince of the Sun, which I don't think has come out yet.
Nice.
And then Vinegar Syndrome released the Righting Wrongs cut of this is the weird cut called Bloody Mary Killer, but they released it eventually on their Righting Wrongs. And then just because you're like, oh, Cynthia Rothrock, she's such a great action actor, I wonder what else she could do. Well, she was in an erotic thriller called Fatal Passion.
Nice.
So if you ever want to see Cynthia Rothrock act in an erotic thriller, you got to find this Indonesian Laserdisc. So good luck.
Take that to a con and get Cynthia to sign that one.
I've never been. That'd be interesting. I wonder if she would. I'm sure she'd be excited.
We get a question. What's your favorite obscure Hong Kong Laserdisc that you have?
Oh, well, look at that. Great question. This was made me I wrote about this in the articles because I love this movie so much. It's called All of a Sudden. You can find it now nicely done on the Internet Archive, but I didn't know that at the time. This movie is amazing. It's basically like a whodunit. So it starts off with like a naked woman who falls out of the sky and lands on a car, and then it's sort of a cop and an investigation and kidnapping, and it's all with Salmon Lamb, and it's Cat 2B, but this is like as the handover is happening. So this is like the end of a Cat 3 movie or a Cat 3 era and the start of a brief period of a bunch of Cat 2B things. But this one is great. All of a Sudden is 100% worth seeing. And then I also really like this movie, but everybody knows this one. But I think this is called The Naked Killer. This is the Taiwanese Laserdisc. And I don't know everything about what's cut, what's uncut, whatever you want to call it. But as far as I know, this is about as uncut as it gets. I mean, maybe there's other stuff. I'm not sure. But I'm telling you, watching this is plenty uncut for me. I love this movie as well.
I don't remember. Did we go over this? What is the most valuable one that you own? Do you know that answer offhand?
I do know, but that's okay. I mean, there are like I own several that are worth over $1,000.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Any titles offhand?
I mean, the Prince of Tide sells for $1,000.
Wow.
Yeah.
Crazy.
The sixth man, the sixth day. I actually made a really nice. So there's a guy in Germany who collects erotic thrillers as well, and I actually sent him because at first this is actually one I was going to talk about, but this is called the Pamela Principle 2, Seduce Me. He couldn't find it at all, and I accidentally found 2 on purpose, maybe, and I used that and a bunch of other erotic thriller things to sort of bargain down the price, and I got that for, I think, a reasonable price, hundreds of dollars, and it's worth like $2,000.
Not too bad. I actually wanted to know the answer to this one too. Gary wants to know: was there ever 3D on Laserdisc?
Yeah, so in Japan they released 3D lovemaking, so you can watch with your 3D glasses some really bad, like blurry people do different positions so you can learn. There's also an American roller coaster 3D, so you can put on your 3D glasses and be the POV of a roller coaster, which is the most nauseating thing. Those are the 2 that I know off of hand. No, there's another one. There's one movie I think too, but not Flesh for Frankenstein. But there's a couple. There might be 1 or 2 movies, but I know those 2 exist.
That's so specific. Not Flesh for Frankenstein. All right. That's interesting. The 3D on Laserdisc, huh? All right.
Yeah. I'll say one more thing. We're sort of in the Hong Kong thing. One thing when I'm buying a lot of Hong Kong movies is like things just pop up. So like, whatever this is, it's just some movie. You look at the back, it says it's Cat 3 and it's called Club Girl. And you're like, okay, what in the world is that? So you go on Letterboxd, it doesn't have a review. You go on the IMDb, there is no review. You go on Hong Kong Movie Database, it'll say nothing. So this movie exists here, and that's like it. Like whether that's good, whether that's bad, I saw most of it. It's a little boring. They made a lot of these, dramas that are sort of about I guess they translate it as Club Girl, but really what it is sort of like you want to go to a bar or a nightclub and have a pretty lady interact with you, and so you sort of pay them for their time and you feed them drinks. So it's a drama about that. There's not a lot of, but there's a lot of those kind of styles. So you just find these things that just disappeared. They're gone.
Yeah. Robert was pointing out something I've only found on Laserdisc: A Matter of Degrees with Ari Gross and Tom Sizemore, W.T. Morgan.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure you've got that one, I'm sure.
I mean, I can look. I don't know if I know it off the top of my head. I only have so much in my head.
That's true. Eddie wanted to know if you had DTS titles.
Yeah, I have almost all of them. I'm missing 4, I believe.
Not too bad.
Yeah, I have all the Japanese ones. And I'm pretty sure I'm missing 4. I don't know if I have Matter of Degrees. Although my my computer's really slow because we've been streaming for a long time.
Yeah. On that note, Paul had this question earlier. I forgot to ask. Do they do TV shows? Not TV movies, but TV shows.
Yeah, tons of them. And in Japan, they release some beautiful, beautiful box sets of them. So things like X-Files exists. ER is all on Laserdisc.
What the hell? The entirety of ER is on Laserdisc?
Yep, we got the whole thing. And remember how they did the live episode twice? You can get it on both sides. They have Friends. So if you want to talk about rare things, they don't have Friends. They released the pilot, but only on Singapore Laserdisc, and I don't have that.
Damn.
I think it goes for a lot of money. There's also a lot of concerts on Laserdisc that never got anywhere else.
Yeah.
There's lots of all kinds of weird things. Japan especially, they release these background videos, so there'll be like airplanes flying or flowers. Or there's also a substrata of these sort of like Japanese backgroundy sort of maybe X-rated things where they have incredibly young girls topless on a beach, like uncomfortably. I don't own any. I owned one, and I was like, I'm a. They're like 14 years old, 12 years. I'm not 12. They're like 14, 15 years old, running around topless. They actually sell for a crazy amount of money. I don't get that one. So, blah.
Ronnie is pointing out they can't have the entirety of ER if it was last released in 2001 because ER went till 2009.
Okay, well,
ER went on for forever.
They have it up to whatever. They have the first 6 seasons, I think, or 7 seasons.
Jeez, that's so much even for ER. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Although that was the best era of ER. not that it wasn't at least good after that, but man, those first 6 or 7 years were great.
Yeah. There's a lot of weird stuff that gets released on that format because, like, you remember there's like 70,000 releases, and like even if you take out the karaoke, which is a solid 10,000, maybe more, you're still at like 60,000 releases. And even if movies get repeated, like there's like 50 Terminator 2s, but like, you know, you're still talking like 30,000+ probably, maybe a little less, maybe 28,000 unique titles. Are all the movies? No, but there's 20,000+ movies, I would say.
Jeez, that is so much. That's incredible. And so many of them literally like will probably never make it past that as their best release.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of them that like will stay there. And that's not always bad, but it's like it's a little weird. Like it's weird that it was popular enough for somebody to spend the money to make these laser discs and forgotten enough 25 years later that nobody will ever release it again.
Right. I get it. Jeez. All right. Well, I think that is probably the end of the line for tonight. This has been awesome. LaserDiscs has been a fun conversation. Lots of people learning tonight, I think, because this is not something that gets discussed all that often. I love that we've been able to get some of yours cataloged on some discs that I've worked on. Hope that we get some more. In fact, there are a couple more that we haven't even technically announced yet that we've already got scanned and ready to go. So we'll see that eventually. All right. Any last like fun facts? Anything you want to throw out?
No, just thank you for having me. I hope it was somewhat cogent, at least, and somewhat interesting, because I know it can get deep into esoterica or minutia, and it's not exactly what even I feel like even within our community is like so in vogue.
Well, that, and it's not covered. I mean, it's so like so many. When you don't have the hardware, it's really hard to get new people into the fold. I think that's the big thing.
Yeah, and also I've been obsessed with this for like a long time, and so like I've been thinking about it in one way or another for way too long. So, well,
everybody in the chat seems to love it, and remember when you see him next week in the chat, he is the Wonderment Project. Say hi. Eager to see it. Next week will be another fun one. Bryan, can't wait to talk again soon.
Thank you.
Talk soon, everybody. We'll see you next Thursday. Later. Thank you for watching The Disconnected. On the way out, make sure that you are subscribed to the channel, that you've liked the video, and that you've copied the link to be able to share it with someone else that may appreciate this.